Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Aso, this is Aso Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading, we're doing something a little bit different, but hopefully will be very fun. We are going to be getting life advice from your inner Barbie girl. If you're watching this when I'm first uploading it, Barbie is kind of everywhere right now, which I love as someone who is an early 2000s Barbie film connoisseur, as I know many of you are as well. I just thought this would be really fun and to see what our own inner Barbie wants us to know. Now, it is important to mention that you do not have to be a girl in order for this reading to be for you. Everybody has an inner Barbie girl. It's about whether you are willing to embrace that inner Barbie girl and live in your Barbie world. So, with that being said, we have 4 different piles for y'all to choose from today. Starting with this first pile, we are going to be using the Moon Void Tarot, and I have this card that says Pure Intentions on top. And then for pile 2, we are going to be using the Final Rose Tarot, and I have this card on top that says One Girl, Many Choices. And then for pile 3, we are going to be using the Y2K Tarot, and I have this card on top that just says Nope. And then finally for pile 4, we are going to be using the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, and I have this card on top that says I fly to exotic places with my own wings. So with that being said, go ahead and feel free to pause the video or whatever you need to do in order to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It's absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. It's quite likely that if you are, it could be just because you find one of the piles pretty, which in that case, you may have to check that pile out to make sure it resonates for you. But if more than one pile resonate, that's absolutely okay. Just do what works for you, take what resonates, don't let the rest take from you, all that jazz. I'm really excited to get into this reading today. So once you picked your pile or piles, you can go ahead and scroll down to the comment section or the description box where I have all the timestamps listed below. And once you have picked your pile or piles, I will see you in your reading. Hi there, pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this Pure Intentions card, excuse me, ma'am, and the Moon Void Tarot, then this is going to be your reading on messages from your inner Barbie girl, life advice from your inner Barbie girl. So to start, we have Black Diamond, which is unique to this deck. We have the King of Swords. We have the 8 of Pentacles. And we have the Page of Pentacles. Move this over a little bit. Then we have New Perspective. I'm actually going to put this guy over here. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. We also have Protection. The Fairies of Protection are shielding you with a magical fairy ring of love and light. Practice psychic protection before embarking upon any spiritual work. I love how those match. We have Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. We have Mother Rose, returning to each other, compassion and humanity. We have Deep Knowing with Sunstone and the Sacral Chakra, which, if you were wondering, I should have Sunstone somewhere on my, oh, there it is. This is Sunstone, if you were curious. And then finally, we have I am everything. I am already everything I am trying to be. I will see that if I stop for a minute. So the first thing that your inner Barbie girl, which could be your higher self, your inner child, a mixture of both, just your inner bad bitch, whatever that may be. First of all, they're wanting you to know how protected you are. This Black Diamond card represents protection, and we also have protection within this card. Now, I feel like one big piece of advice that your inner Barbie girl is coming through to let you know is that 1, you deserve to trust yourself more, and 2, you deserve to give yourself more credit. One of the biggest things that I'm seeing here is that you've taken on a lot of beliefs about yourself, about what you're capable of, and about what's possible for you, based upon the feedback of others and societal beliefs at large. The fact that we have the Wheel of Fortune right here, I kind of wanted this card to represent your inner child. And the Wheel of Fortune not only has a lot to do with luck and destiny and fate, but it's also just a very abundant and very blessed card. I feel like one thing your inner child wants you to know is that you deserve everything that your heart desires, like, which obviously sounds very like entitled, but I don't mean it that way. I mean in terms of like what your heart truly desires, the things that are going to bring satisfaction to your heart, those should align at large with the love of the universe. One love, baby. And the fact that we have this Mother Rose card here, I feel like one thing that is really happening right now for you that you may not recognize is that there's a lot of like, you're in a process of coming home to yourself, but not in a way where you return to the person you once were, like the purity of who you were as a child, but rather you're returning to yourself in a more balanced way where you can have that innate purity, that innate whimsy, and look at the world from a very magical lens, but also you have the wisdom and the logic and the rationality to recognize how reality works in certain ways, how people are, what the quote unquote real world is truly like. And I feel like you're kind of meant to bridge those together to not only help you grow into the person that you're becoming, but there's a lot here around career. And I don't know if that is because you are really focused on your career, you're thinking about shifting or changing something, whatever it may be. And it doesn't even have to be career. It could be like meaningful work to you, I think is a better word there. I feel like one thing that you need to know and some guidance that you're being given is to continue doing all the work you need to shed the past. There's a lot here around the fact that it seems like even though you're moving forward into a new stage of life, it seems like your thought patterns and certain behaviors that you have and certain beliefs that you have are inhibiting your ability to connect more with yourself and as a result the greater universe, but also it's keeping you trapped in a way of being that doesn't align with who you truly are. I feel like there's this kind of cognitive dissonance around who you truly are because you're so focused on who you think you need to be. And that is getting majorly in the way of your own satisfaction and happiness. Like, for example, if you are already at a place in life where you're really happy with like where you feel like you should be happy with where things are, you're satisfied with where you've come, but like for whatever reason it just seems like you can't appreciate it or something like that, or maybe you're ready to make a change, you're meant for something more than what you're currently experiencing, but those inner like doubts, those fears, and the things that other people have told you, the beliefs that have been instilled with you could be really holding you back. The fact that we have this Mother Rose with returning to each other, I feel like these are the two parts of yourself returning, but also you returning to a softer version of yourself that's kinder to yourself, that listens to yourself, that validates your concerns, that supports your needs. I feel like there's a lot here about recognizing where you kind of could take more responsibility in terms of meeting your own needs and also not allowing other people's beliefs, other people's perspectives of you to get in the way of what you know to be true. The fact that we have Sunstone with deep knowing, I feel like there is something that you're working towards that may be really small right now, or it may be just an idea still. It may be that like you're working now to be able to like make that move. No matter what, like your manifestation energy at this time is really heightened, and I feel like the universe is on your side in terms of whatever you're trying to move towards, especially if it does have to do with like meaningful work or building a life for yourself that is just more aligned with the person you're becoming. But essentially one of the biggest vibes that I'm getting is that you're protected on this journey. And one thing that your inner Barbie girl wants you to know is that it is okay to rest, and it is okay to just flow with what is and not need to know how everything is happening exactly. I feel like all you need to know is that it's okay not to know where you're going, but to know that everything will be okay. I feel like you're being asked to look at things from not a perspective of, this is my past, this is where I've been, and here's where I am now, but rather, I'm here now. Where am I going? Or what can I do now to get me closer to the general goal of where I want to be? I feel like you've been so focused on your past or so focused on what has held you back or what you can't do that you've been greatly missing out on what you can do, what possibilities there are for you, how many people are rooting for you, that adore you, that love you, that want the best for you. And that's not just people, it's beings as well. Unconditionally loving beings, your inner Barbie girl. I feel like with this new perspective here, you're really being called to look at how your own like conditioning and like your brain's conditioning has made it so that it's harder for you to make the changes that you know would improve your life, and the perspectives that you have that make your present reality less enjoyable or less beautiful than it actually is. I feel like this is a huge call. If you have anyone in your life that you feel like doesn't support you, or that makes you feel bad about yourself, or doesn't have pure intentions with you, I feel like you're really being called to look at that as something to be aware of, because I do feel like there are people that even if they're not in your life anymore, their opinions of you or what they think of you could kind of be living in your head rent free. And I feel like that is something that's really getting in the way of your ability to put your all into whatever it is you're doing in your daily life. I feel like you're really being called to recognize that you're protected. Black diamonds in general symbolize like protection from evil specifically. And the cool thing about this King of Swords card is there's this crown that's on fire. And the crown isn't being burned. And I think that's because, you know, truth cannot be cleared away. Like eventually the truth is seen and it cannot be burned away. And I feel like there are a lot of truths that you're seeing right now that are kind of intense. Like they could be truths about like your own habits, behaviors, beliefs that aren't serving you. They could be truths about people, present people or past people in your life, and realizing what their intentions truly are and how unaligned that is with you. It could be a lot of different things, but the truth ultimately is rooted in love. And I think one thing that you're meant to see is that it's time to stop being your own worst enemy and inviting people into your life and allowing people in your life that encourage and support this inner saboteur, that encourage this behavior. Because I feel like there are people that maybe for some of you, you've already gotten rid of them, but for some of you, there could be people in your life that don't necessarily want to see you succeed. They would rather see you give up on your dreams the same way they have and sit and rot in misery with them. And even if they're not in your life anymore, you could still have attachments towards them. So I would look into like maybe cord cutting rituals if you think that's a thing. Because I feel like you may be unknowingly giving this person like access to your energy without even realizing it. Maybe because you're not protecting your energy or anything like that. Once again, if you want to look into like grounding and protecting, there are wonderful grounding and protecting meditations on YouTube. You can look up like simple ways to protect your energy. There are lots of different ways, and what works for some will work differently for others. But I feel like what you're really being called to look at is not at what other people think you can achieve, but rather what are you trying to achieve and what's the root cause behind it. Because I think that one thing that your inner Barbie girl wants you to know is that your most successful endeavors and your most worthwhile endeavors are going to be the ones that you put all of your love and passion and hard work into. What I'm really hearing is that you, like whatever you're trying to work towards, you can not only be successful at it, and what I mean by success is not like, oh, you're gonna get a new Bugatti. I mean, I guess unless that is your definition of success, but like I'm not gonna make you promises with that. That's up to you and your wallet and your financial decisions. But it's more so the inner yearning and lack of satisfaction within your heart and in your soul, you will be successful in remedying that through following the path that you're trying to go down. And the biggest thing that you're being called to recognize is that you do have the intelligence and the awareness to make the best decisions for you, but you cannot let your powerful mind be something that inhibits your ability to move forward. I feel like the best thing that you can do is literally just keep moving forward and not let how you're feeling day by day dictate how well you're actually doing. I feel like there could be just a lot of internal shifts that you're going through right now, because clearly you're shedding a lot. Like the fact that we have Unbound here with releasing soul patterns, contracts, past lives, it seems like this could be a bit of a tumultuous time in terms of like everything around you. Like, so there may be a lot of chaos around you. There might be a lot of changes. There might be people like, for example, like, you know, people that you're having issues with, or people that you've had past issues with, and like the issues from that are coming to the surface again to be dealt with. And you might be feeling like, is this a sign from the universe telling me that I'm doing something wrong? Is this a sign from the universe that I'm not supposed to be doing this? And no, it's not a sign of all of any of that. I think it's just a natural response to what you've been shedding and purging, especially if you've been having random outbursts of emotion. I definitely think that's your body like releasing energies that you had been holding on to. But I also think that you're really being called to look at how you may underestimate how much support you're actually getting, especially on the divine's part, because there's a lot of support within like the realm of protection. But also, I think that there's a lot of support in terms of like the universe wanting to guide you down this path. I feel really called to look at the book and what this Mother Rose says, because I feel like there's a message in there that I'm not getting, and naturally I don't know where the book is. Oh, cheese and crackers. Where is it? Is it like on the ground maybe? I don't know. Well, I guess if I can't find it, then maybe I'm not supposed to. But that's oh, I found it. Okay. Let's see. Mother Rose. A sacred symbol of the feminine, the rose has been here much longer than us. In times ancient, garlands of roses were placed around statues of mother goddesses in worship of her. We're all her children. She connects and unites us all. If we trace her roots far enough, maybe we'll find our way back to each other. We're living in a time of great division, learning and unlearning. We're coming together, mending the thread of humanity. This is a card of returning to union by facing what's been broken, separated, and severed. And this is definitely like union with yourself. To realize that we're all human, and while harm has been done, what's needed now is for us to acknowledge what's happened and endeavor to find a way to return to each other. To realize that it's possible for two people to have a different experience, and at the same time both can be true. Mother Rose longs for humanity to drop our defenses and reach out to each other with deep honesty and compassion, to face and untangle the sadness, anger, and hurt from our hearts with the help of her grace, to dig our roots deep until we find common ground. Which relationships are difficult for you now? Who has hurt you? How can you soften and express your truth without being defensive? How can you open yourself up to the possibility that two truths can exist at once? And this transmission says, Mother Rose, please show us how to find our way back to you, the earth, and each other. Please help me to acknowledge what is difficult for me, and may my heart be filled with compassion for all. So this makes a lot of sense, which I guess for some of you, there could be an opportunity to like reconcile with like a past person in your life, and your inner Barbie girl may be saying like, if that's something in alignment with your heart, that can definitely be possible. But I'm not going to sit here and like go too deeply into that, because I feel like if people are meant to come into your life, come back into your life, like it will happen. I feel like this is a lot more about coming back to yourself in a way where you realize that you don't need to be, one, so hard on yourself, and two, so fearful of what other people think of you, whether other people are going to support you, things like that, because like the ones that are going to support you will, and the ones that won't. I feel like there's a lot of actual like simplicity in terms of what you're meant to be doing right now, but you might be overcomplicating it through like doubt and fear and like, well, other people do this and other people do that. And it might also just be too that you may be feeling like you may be having a hard time feeling like you can trust other people, or that you can even trust yourself. And I feel like the fact that you guys chose the pure intentions card, one thing you need to know is that, you know, it's not dumb or bad or wrong to have kind and pure intentions. It seems like that you do, and whatever path you're following, the more pure your intentions are towards it, I think the better outcome you're going to see. But I also think that you may be having a hard time recognizing how you, like, if, like, for example, if you have pure intentions towards people, it can be very, like, devastating and very sad when you realize that the people that you have pure intentions towards don't feel the same way. And you might take that on and think, like, maybe I'm stupid, or maybe this is how it's supposed to be, or things like that. And it's just not true. I feel like there's a lot of stories you might be telling yourself that are not only not true, but that don't help you and that keep you stuck in a way of living, in a way of seeing the world that doesn't align with the person you're becoming. But I feel like what your inner Barbie girl is really here to tell you is that the more you can integrate a perspective that allows for truths to coexist and for uncertainty in the way of, I don't know where this path is leading me, or I don't know where I'm going, but I'm okay right now and I know I'll be okay, or whatever that may be. I feel like you're really just being encouraged to look at how your thoughts, how your perception creates your reality, and whether it's creating a reality that's beneficial to you or not. Obviously, there are many things outside of our scope of, outside of us that we cannot control. But, you know, that comes back to what can you control, and are you utilizing what you can control in order to support yourself? I feel like you have a lot of intuitive nudges that you've either been ignoring or been afraid to trust because you feel like what if they're wrong, or what if I look stupid, and once again, it just comes back to like that fear and that uncertainty and that doubt. And I feel like one is really important to have compassion for yourself, because that doubt and those fears and those insecurities and like that conditioning and programming that you have going on, like, first of all, everybody has that in some sort of capacity, and we all have to unlearn things that don't serve us. But you don't have to see things that way, and you don't have to allow the ways in which you don't have to allow the outside world to have more of a say in what you should be doing than yourself. I feel like there's just a lot about coming home to yourself and recognizing that the wounded parts of you are just as valid as the healed parts of you. The darker parts of yourself are just as important as the parts of yourself that you are aware of. There's just so much here about letting go of the need to know what's going on and why, and instead to just flow with what is and observe. Because it seems like the answers that you're looking for are actually going to be in that observation. And I feel like one big thing that might be stopping you right now from taking action towards what's truly important to you is this fear of getting hurt, or this fear of failure. And the fact that we have protection here twice, I feel like, is the universe's way of saying, we are protecting you. Like, you are meant to go towards this path. And I feel really called to say that, like, when we feel called towards a path or called to do something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be nope, I got stopped there, so I guess I wasn't supposed to say that. I feel like the biggest thing that your inner Barbie girl wants you to know is that you are not the same person you once were, but you're never meant to return to like an innately pure version of yourself, like that childhood version of yourself. What you're meant to do is take that innate purity, that childlike whimsy, wonder, love for others, and pair it with the challenging, the painful, the confusing, and the intense, hard life experiences that we all go through, and combine those together for an outlook that is balanced between, I wouldn't say fantasy and reality, but what I would say is between the world within and the world at large, and how the world at large affects the world within, and how the world at large shapes who we become, and how the people we interact with shape who we become, and all that. I feel like you are more focused on anyone other than yourself, and that's what's making this like current time in your life more challenging. I feel like you don't believe in yourself. And it's really sad because the universe does. And I think the reason why people have worked overtime to get you to not believe in yourself is because they believed in you, and they see your ability to succeed. They see your ability to grow. And I think that there are some people that would rather hold on to you and hold you down rather than allow you to bloom and fly and find your own path. And I think part of your healing journey right now is recognizing that every person in some way has pain. You know, no human leaves this earth unscathed. And just because you're doing the work to heal, just because you're doing the work to grow, doesn't mean that you're never going to experience pain or hardship again. That's life, and that stuff happens. But that doesn't mean that you won't also experience bliss and ecstasy and amazing, incredible experiences. Life is meant to be lived, and we are, which, like, yeah, no crap, water is meant to be wet, which I guess some people would argue is not true. But have you guys seen that debate that, like, water isn't actually wet? I don't know. I don't want to go down that path. But I actually think there is something here too about maybe like fixations that you have. Like, you might get sucked into paths that, or not like paths, but topics or like media that plays into certain fears or insecurities that you have. And you might like look into them as a way of like trying to quell those fears. But I feel like what you might be doing is reinforcing those fears. So I feel like you're also being called to look at like what you consume and what you deem as truth, because I think there's a lot here that isn't truthful. That is actually just keeping you trapped in a prison of your own thoughts and a prison of your own fear. Your inner Barbie girl wants you to see that not only do you deserve to follow like the path that your heart has been dreaming of, but you deserve to see how wonderful you are and how wonderful it is that despite the challenges you've gone through, you do still have pure intentions. You do still want to find the good in the world and make more good and express that good. You know, there is a lot of hardship in the world, and there is a lot of darkness and negativity, but that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be happy or to be positive, that you're not allowed to see the good in things. Truths can coexist, you know? And I think like a lot of what you are learning right now is the recognition of the fact that things are not necessarily as they seem, pretty much ever. And that the people that raised us, the people that guided us, you know, they're just as flawed, uncertain, and winging it like as the rest of us. And I feel like there's this natural assumption maybe on your part that other people have life more figured out, or other people know more than you just because they exist outside of yourself. And like, that's not true. I feel like you don't value your own perspective of yourself, your own opinions of yourself, as much as you value the opinions and perspectives of others. And that's just not fair to you. I also think, like, you know, for example, there's this kind of like escapist energy here where you might be feeling like, or not escapist, I think it's more perfectionist, where it's like, oh, I feel like you tell yourself you shouldn't feel certain things, or you should be over certain things, or you shouldn't be so, you shouldn't be the way that you are. And that's not right or fair to yourself. I'm pretty sure one of Barbie's taglines used to be who you want to be. And you have to want to be you. Like, and what I mean by that is like, being you is not about being another person that you think has it all figured out or that you admire. Being you is about embracing like all of you, your strengths, your weaknesses, your blessings, your challenges, your complexities, and the mysteries that you still have within you that you are yet to discover. There's a lot here about just having more in life, and that comes with letting go of the scraps we've been holding on to, letting go of what we know isn't bringing us more, what we know is holding us back. And I think also just like giving yourself a freaking break and stop being so hard on yourself, because I definitely think you're being way too hard on yourself. And you have like very unrealistic expectations about what you think you should be doing or where you think you should be by now. And I would not be shocked if that perspective is fueled by like media, you know, because we people show their successes and very often do not show their struggles, their challenges. But I feel like what you need to know is you're exactly where you need to be, and that everything is okay, even if you don't understand it and you don't know where you're going. I feel like you're naturally attracting a lot of blessed, beautiful experiences, but you may not get to experience them as richly if you're still stuck in certain perspectives that don't allow you to be present, that don't allow you to recognize your value, that don't allow you to recognize the beauty in the mundane, the beauty in the small moments. I feel like there's just this real part of you that refuses to give yourself grace for being human. And it's one of the biggest things that's holding you back from actually becoming the person you want to be. Because if you don't want to be human, well, I hate to break it to you, bud, but unless you're an alien watching this on an interdimensional, like interdimensional internet or something, I don't know, you're human. And maybe part of your journey right now is learning to recognize that you are so lovable despite what you may think, or despite what our mainstream society leads others to believe. I feel like you're really just being asked where you're leaving yourself vulnerable to opinions, perspectives, behaviors, phenomena that makes you feel less than worthy, that makes you feel like you can't succeed, that makes you feel like what you're working towards isn't worth it. Just because you can't see the results of what you're putting your effort towards yet doesn't mean that you're failing, you know? Flowers take a lot of time to bloom. You don't plant a seed and then see the fully bloomed flower the next day. You know, it takes a lot of time, and it takes growth, and it takes a lot of work, and there are different cycles. The flower doesn't bloom forever. The flower decays and dies and should regrow the next season. I feel like one thing you need to remember is that there are seasons in life, and depending on what season you're in, you know, you can't always be blooming, and that's okay. We have this expectation societally that like we should always be pushing for more and doing more and having more, and more does not always equal better. Sometimes the less expectations we put on ourselves, or the less we try to do at once, you know, like the more we can be present with what is important to us, or the more we can really embody and embrace the present moment. I think there's just a lot here, like this, I'm sorry if this isn't making much sense, or if like I'm kind of all over the place. My energy is malleable. Like whenever I'm channeling, I'm malleable to the energies of who I'm channeling. So if that's how you've been feeling, that's probably why I'm like being like this. But one like root energy here that I can't seem to like wrap, like there's this energy that I'm feeling that I'm trying to get to like the right words of what it is. And I think what it actually is that there is no giant answer right now. Things just are the way that they are. And it's up to you to make the decisions in alignment with your heart as you flow with it. I think that there's just a lot happening that's outside of your control, that's even outside of what you need to be aware of, that you may be really focused on, or that you may be really worried about, and that may be inhibiting your ability to accomplish what's actually important to you in your daily life. And I think it's really important. You need to have compassion for yourself and be kinder to yourself about what you've experienced and what you've gone through, and how that's affected you. Like one thing that keeps coming into my mind, and I don't necessarily know what the point of me telling you this is, but I was watching Barbie as Rapunzel once, maybe a couple years ago, and I realized like this girl has been stuck, was kidnapped by I'm not going to diagnose Gothel, but by a very abusive individual that is very selfish and narcissistic, And she's just like fine. She's been isolated from the outside world her entire life. She is forced to work as a servant, and yet she is so hopeful and light and full of love. I'm like, that's beautiful, but let's be real. Any normal human in that situation would not be so healthy mentally and emotionally. I'm not saying it's impossible to be healthy growing up in an incredibly toxic environment, but it's highly unlikely that you're going to leave a toxic environment completely unscathed. And I feel like that's one big thing that we forget about fairy tales is like these characters seem to not have any inner qualms or issues, well, partially because they're meant for children, but also because in fairy tales the complexity of the human experience doesn't really exist, right? And a lot of that is fantasy. And I feel like there's a part of us that could take a page out of fantasy characters' is books, movies, scripts, that, being kind and believing in the goodness of the world despite what you've gone through is a very beautiful thing. But we have to be more realistic about the fact that, like, 1, change takes time. 2, unlearning things takes effort, and it probably won't happen the first time that you start to unlearn it. 3, things that you thought you healed may come back up again, and you may have to do more work on healing them. Healing isn't linear, and growth certainly isn't linear either. Growth and decay happen simultaneously. I feel like there's just a lot happening here where it's almost like you're trying to determine what's actually happening in your life, and you're being asked to stop because you're inhibiting your ability to actually see what's happening in your life and make the decisions that actually will support you. It's almost like you feel like you're meant to give someone else answers, or like you're looking for answers for yourself. And I feel like one answer that you need to learn to be comfortable with is, I don't know. Doesn't mean you won't know forever, but you're just not sure yet, and that's okay. I definitely think, like, if you take a minute just to, like, ask yourself, like, are things really as bad as I'm telling myself, or are things really as, like, doom and gloom as I'm telling myself? Which, like, I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, but, like, I'll just use myself as an example. Like, I can be doing really, really well and have no awareness of it because, like, I'm still learning to work through, like, mental patterns around, like, like anxiety and negative self-talk and, like, things like that, for example. And so it's, like, very disorienting when I look at things realistically and I'm like, oh wait, things are actually so much better than I'm giving myself credit for, and I'm beating myself up so much and it's like draining the shit out of me. You might be doing a little bit of that, and so I'm obviously not going to sit here and be like, stop doing that, because it's much easier said than done, but it is worthwhile to try. And I think one thing that you need to know is that you're far more protected than you think you are, and it's okay to take more risks. It's okay to do things when you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's okay to not know where you're going and not know who you are. What's not okay to do is to beat yourself up for existing. It's not okay to betray yourself in order to help others at the expense of yourself, or be there for others at the expense of yourself. It's not okay to martyr yourself to humanity, because that doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve humanity either. If you want to know when you're truly in alignment with the divine, or when the divine is involved in something, there's usually a win-win outcome. And, a big win-win outcome, for example, is doing something that you love and being able to support yourself in return. Oftentimes doing something that you love brings benefit to someone else. So you win, the other people win, the divine wins, because it's also, getting people that are more satisfied. But, like, I feel like I think this is maybe what it is. If you're focused on the idea of, like, a happily ever after or like a set moment in your future where you're going to be like, yes, I've made it, or yes, this is what I've worked for and my work is worth it. Let go of the idea that moment exists, because that moment could exist, But then you're gonna have that moment afterwards of like, oh God, what's next? Oh God, have I peaked? Oh God, like these things are just, it's all downhill from here, things like that. And it's just, no. There are different phases and cycles of life and different stages in them, and they all have meaning and they all have value. Like, your struggles have just as much value as your high points. Like, it's all part of the experience. And I feel like what you need to know is that you're protected from outside evil that would inhibit your ability to grow, but you're also not going to be protected from ways in which you're not going to be protected from outside phenomena that could bring you, like for example, you're not going to be protected from yourself. And what I mean by that is, you are being given the luxury and the blessing of being able to make your own decisions. And if your own decisions do not support the person you're becoming, that is not a sign that like the universe is not going to protect you from making the quote unquote wrong decision, or the decision that isn't going to align with who you're becoming. And that's not because they don't care, but it's because they care so much that they want you to see that you have the ability to do that, and that even if you do make a decision that doesn't actually align with you, or that you end up not agreeing with, you're growing and learning from that. Like, everything that you're doing and everything that you choose has some sort of benefit from it, but the benefits might be what you learn from the negative consequences of those choices, right? But more than anything, I really just think you're being called to trust yourself more, trust your gut more, and recognize that you deserve and are allowed to have a mental space that is positive, that is loving, that sees the world realistically. You know, we need to have these perspectives, because nihilism is not going to save the world. Nihilism is not going to get us anywhere. We need to have hope in the sense that, like, hope in ourselves, hope that things can change, and hope in others in terms of that they'll find their way and they'll find their path and they'll grow and they'll evolve. I feel like if you're trying to take responsibility for other people's healing, other people's growth, other people's happiness, you got to stop, because the only person you're actually responsible for is yourself. And I feel like you may be reinforcing this idea towards yourself that you're not worthy, or that you have to give to others to the detriment of yourself in order to be valid, in order for it to be okay that you're taking up space. If you weren't meant to take up space, you wouldn't be here. So remember that. There are always going to be entitled people that want to take from you, and it's up to you to be willing to set those boundaries and recognize that you can only give when you have enough. And if you don't have enough right now, if you're not at that place, then that is further reinforcement into why you deserve to take more time for yourself, why you deserve to shed what isn't serving you. I really just think in general, the guidance that you're being given is to not give up. Trust yourself. Trust in what you believe in, and trust in where you're being guided. Trust that the rose has thorns for a reason. I actually was reading this card today from this other deck that I have, and it was talking about how, you know, the rose has thorns so that it's protected from things that would just want to consume it without appreciating it. You know, the thorns are there to protect it, and it's okay. Like, and it's kind of interesting in this King of Swords. I feel like you're really being asked to be discerning about maybe things you turned a blind eye to, that you know maybe are actually creating more suffering than you would like. Or this could also be like, maybe you're afraid to set boundaries with people, or you might be afraid that's being mean. And I think it's a lot meaner to yourself to let people take advantage of your kindness and take advantage of your time and energy because you're afraid to hurt their feelings or afraid to say no. Like, that person isn't afraid to take advantage of you. So if they're upset, that's exactly why you need to have those boundaries in the first place. Once again, I just have to apologize, Pile One. I feel like I'm just giving you a lot of like information as it's flowing, but there's no kind of root. Well, actually, I think if anything, roots could be important. I'm thinking of the Canadian clothing line, but I don't know why, but I think this is a lot more about grounding your potential, grounding what you know you deserve, and grounding yourself into your own body, because your body is so incredible, and it's the vessel for your soul, and this world is a container for you to create and grow and make the most of this beautiful life. And there's this dumb idea that life ends when your heart stops beating. Life does not end when you retire, or when you get married, or when you we have this idea that life ends at a certain point, and that's just not true. I feel like you're just really being called to let go of what you believe to be true and get comfortable with not knowing, because that not knowing is going to open you up to a copious amount of pathways, like an infinite amount of pathways that could lead you to places you could have never dreamed of. All you need to know is that you are so capable of doing anything you put your mind to. And the more you do things from a place of love, and you set the intention to act from a place of love, either because you love doing something or you love that the result it will bring, whatever it may be, those are going to be the things that are the most worth it. But I feel like you should also know how guided and protected you are, especially with the Wheel of Fortune and all that protection. You are so protected. And if there are things leaving your life, people leaving your life, that is just a sign of that protection working. Remember, rejection is divine protection. But I'm really going to summarize this by saying, the biggest guidance for you right now is to focus on what is in your control in the present moment, and to let go of making judgments about what is actually happening in your life. Be open to the idea that the universe is communicating to you all the time. Your body's communicating to you. Your emotions are communicating to you. You just have to be willing to listen and be open for translation. I really think more than, and in general too, there might be healing around recognizing the humanity in the people that have hurt you, and how, not saying that you have to, but forgiveness in terms of forgiving yourself, and how you needed to cope with whatever happened, and forgiving yourself for for your past mistakes in general. I think that's really important. And forgiveness in general is for yourself. It's not for the other person. But I feel if there are people in your life, or that are not in your life but still taking up space and time in your head and in your energy, you're really being called to look at how, well, actually, no, this is perfect. I'll give you guidance that I did in this situation. Was I first looked at I guess this part's irrelevant. The part that's relevant to you is you want to look at, what am I needing to learn from this person or from this situation that I haven't learned yet? And how can I learn that, integrate that, heal that, and release that? You can do that through tarot cards. Maybe I'll make a reading about it. I don't know. Maybe that has to be the next reading. But more than anything, if you have cards, you can do it that way. You could go to a reader about that, or you could just do it through analysis, or ask the universe for signs and guidance on what to do there. Maybe I'll have to make that reading. But yeah, I guess I'm going to summarize this part by just saying, I'm sorry. And you're probably Aso, stop apologizing. But I do feel bad, because I feel I don't know if there's something that I'm not seeing, that I'm not pulling at. But what I do just feel is there's a lot of messages here just around, they're very jumbled and chaotic and sporadic. So maybe when you do see signs, or you get intuitive hits or things like that, maybe it'd be good to write them down, because maybe you'll get confirmation or connect the dots later. But there's no one underlying theme here, or underlying energy. I feel there's a lot of small things that you've been carrying and focusing on and thinking about. And I think that, and hopefully whatever I've just channeled hits a lot of those points. But I feel more than anything, it's time for you to start seeing the light more, and not only seeing the light in terms of looking at things from a more positive perspective, but also just seeing the beauty in life, the beauty in the everyday, the light in our pain, the light in our unknowing, the light in life in general, like going outside, soaking up the sun, Sheryl Crow, the best song to exist. And no, I will not accept other opinions. I'm sorry, your opinion is wrong. The light in, just light in general, like you are meant to feel lighter. You are meant to experience more lightness. And if you are someone who is very used to darkness, heaviness, negativity, profound struggle and suffering, it is very weird to be on the other side of that. And there's guilt around that. There's shame around that. There's fear around when is that going to end? And you're just being asked to let go a lot of that, because whatever you've taken from your hardships and from your past, what you're meant to take is the wisdom, the value of the lessons you've learned, the tools and the skills that you've gained as a result. What you're meant to let go of is the stories about yourself that you told yourself when you didn't know better as a result of these struggles. What you're meant to let go of is the idea that these struggles determine your worth as a person, determine your capability of what you can achieve. In the words of Michael Scott, you have no idea how high I can fly. And I feel like that's you. Like you have no idea how high you can fly. But I think like in order to do that, it starts with grounding and working in the material realm. So I feel like this is, like I said, I feel like if I don't like come up with a message to summarize this, I could just go down like 12 million different pathways with just this reading. So I feel like if Pile 1's inner Barbie girl could summarize this message in one word before we move on to guidance, what would that be? Not one word, but one piece of guidance. Ooh, I think it's a Winnie the Pooh quote, actually. You are braver than you believe, smarter than you think, and something else. I don't know what that is. Whatever that quote is, if I remember, I'll write it down. Winnie the Pooh quote, braver. Okay, that'll be good enough. All right, okay. The biggest thing that you need to know is that you're so capable. You rock. You are incredible. And I feel like even as I say that, some of you are like, whatever, you're just saying that, or like, you don't see how wonderful you are. And it's really annoying, honestly, as I'm reading your energy, because you just have no idea how capable you are and how much you deserve to achieve what you've been dreaming of and how much you deserve to follow your dreams. Like, I want to verbally eviscerate anyone who made you believe otherwise, but I will not, because I don't know who they are, and that's not my job. But I wish I could. And the biggest thing I think you really just need to know right now is that it's okay to not know where you're going and what you're doing. It's okay to not know how things are going to turn out. But I promise you it'll be so worth it to be able to look at your life and look at what you're doing and saying, I'm glad I tried, then, reach the end of your life and be like, what if I had done that? The only way to not have regrets is to, I don't know. Don't lead a life that others want you to live, because not only will you regret it, but you will have wasted this beautiful gift of life on the desires of others rather than your own and the desires of the universe on your behalf. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards. We're sticking to the pink theme, and just see like what channeled messages your inner Barbie girl has for you. With that being said, thank you guys so much for being patient with me in this reading. I just always feel bad when I feel like I can't get like a cohesive message, but if I'm being honest, I barely remember what I'm saying in these, and I am only half here anyway, so that's when it really just comes down to trust, and that's it. That's the word. It's trust. It's trust. Trust that, yes. We got there. I knew there was something. Oh my God. When I said experiencing ecstasy, this is what I'm talking about. And it is when it clicks. Okay. What your inner Barbie girl wants you to know is that you deserve to trust yourself as much as the universe trusts in your ability to succeed and achieve. And you need to trust in the abilities and the universe's ability to protect you and your ability to protect you, and to trust in the fact that you are capable of handling any challenges that come your way. You are capable of doing things that you haven't done before. You are capable of learning new things, of trying hard things, of growing and evolving. And it would be such a detriment to you to not trust in that path, because like, you need to trust your heart. You need to trust where you're going, because there's so much life that you are meant to live that you're not, out of guilt, shame, and a belief that you shouldn't, and maybe other things. There could be plenty of other things, but point being, it's time to adopt the perspective and work on reinforcing that perspective that is trusting that things will work out the way that they're meant to, that if something is meant to be in your life, it won't miss you, that if you don't know, if you are meant to know something, that it will be revealed to you at the right time. And another thing that you need to trust is that you don't need to know everything in order for things to be okay. Learning to build trust in yourself is very powerful. Learning to trust the universe often requires leaps of faith, often requires tests of faith. And, trust is something that it's a choice that we make. It doesn't necessarily feel good or right at the time when we're doing it. It can be really scary to take a leap of faith. It can be really scary to trust, but the only way we'll know is if we try, right? But I guess that's the key. That is the key here, is trust. Trusting in what you believe, trusting your intuition, trusting the inner nudges the universe is giving you, and trusting your own perspective over the perspective of people that will never know you as intimately as you know yourself, and people that may not even have your best intentions at heart. And trust that you can trust your own discernment abilities and your own behavior, in terms of like, if I do realize someone is not supporting me or they don't have the best intentions, I trust myself to make the best decisions in terms of setting boundaries with them. It's very easy to just be like, oh, just cut them off or something like that. But only you know what's best for you. And sometimes things don't have to be that dramatic. Maybe it's space, maybe it's time, maybe it's growth, maybe it's working through conflict, whatever that may be. But I really think it's time to start trusting yourself and your ability to achieve, and trust that the universe is not leading you astray. You are so blessed, and there's so much waiting for you. And you're just going to have to trust that you'll get there in the perfect time, in the perfect way. Okay, so with that being said, now I'm going to shuffle these. Okay, I feel better. How long is this? Oh my God, 55 minutes. I'm so sorry, you guys. I didn't mean to go this long. We'll just pull a couple, and I literally aim for these to be like 20 minutes. That's okay. I just love you guys and want you to have the best reading possible. So pile 1's inner Barbie girl. What messages do you have for pile 1? You may be hiding parts of yourself out of shame or fear of judgment. Emerge from your cocoon and know that once you accept all parts of yourself, others will also accept you for exactly who you are. Come out of hiding. And the ones that don't accept you for who you are, those ones, it's time to go. What else would pile 1's inner Barbie girl say to them? Spirit is currently pushing you to rest your physical, emotional, or mental body, as you may be overworking yourself. Take time to replenish your energy now. You are doing too much. I feel like that's especially within your mental body. Overthinking could be a huge thing here. And one more. Yeah. This is or will be a period of purging or releasing of outdated patterns, karmic contracts, and other past experiences, energies for you. You may feel symptoms or endure an upheaval. Surrender now. And what I can, there's a lot about surrender here. Yeah, ooh, and on the back of the deck we have your etheric body is extremely permeable. Be conscious of any darker energies or negative thoughts that can quickly send your vibration downhill. Protect and seal your aura at this time, and protect yourself from your thoughts, in the sense of like your thoughts that aren't constructive, your thoughts that drain your energy. Those are the ones you want to pay attention to. But we are going to go ahead and finish off with a message from the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. It is the only non-pink deck we're using, but it's a really fantastic deck, especially for self-love. So if you want to get it, you should. I feel like I should get an Amazon shop or something, like maybe, and put all my stuff in there. I just feel kind of guilty about how messed up Amazon is. But then again, at the same time, it's not like I can control the economy or how that works. So Spirit, pile one. Pile one's inner Barbie girl. What message and guidance do you have for pile one at this time that can be most beneficial? We have, yes, be there for you. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. Let's see what it says. Okay. I'm going to put this here so that you guys can put that here. It's time to let yourself off the hook. Don't interpret the behavior of other people or circumstances outside of your control to indicate something negative about you. Okay, that's so affirming, because I really was getting that vibe. Forgive yourself for anything you feel you have done wrong. You can learn from your choices more easily if you stop punishing yourself whenever you feel that you've made a mistake. Even the decisions that we regret can help us grow wiser when we swap judgment for compassion. Sometimes we can only learn what we need to know from what doesn't work out so well at the time. Forgive yourself, have your own back, be good to you. You have an open, sensitive, beautiful heart. Sometimes the world cannot meet that heart of yours on equal terms. Sometimes the hearts of others are just too closed and afraid. That's okay, because it's part of why you were born, to help heal and open the hearts of the world. You are wise and know your purpose is to shine the beauty of your divine heart freely for all to experience. You never have to close down or turn away from that sacred purpose in the world, but you do deserve to be safeguarded and protected. Know that you have your own back. When fearful, angry people lash out in pain, trying to hurt others because they could not get past their own hurt, do not make it about you. Your heart knows how to love you and protect you, whilst it has compassion for the suffering that another may be feeling. Remember that you must be there for yourself, nurturing your own heart with plenty of love. Give to yourself just as you give to the world, with kindness and generosity. Don't allow anyone or anything to make you forget what is real and true. The wisdom and love that fills your heart, fills your own divine heart, and helps heal the world. So if you want to do the sacred ritual, that is there. If you want to screenshot that, I will hold it up for like 5 more seconds. And there's that if you want to screenshot it. But pile one, I apologize that this reading took so long, but this is exactly why I don't put time limits on my readings, because it would eat me alive if I hadn't gotten to that word trust. But I trust that everyone that made it to the end was meant to see this. Definitely, if you reach the end of this video, comment your favorite Barbie movie, or comment your favorite Barbie toy, anything Barbie related, feel free. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for what I do. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates, you can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my candles. This is the Unicorn Love candle. All candles, you can get them for 10% off using code ASO10, or any candles on Angelic Magic 888's site. You can also check out my merch and my social media, but that is all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for being here. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this card that says One Girl, Many Choices, and the final rose tarot, then this is going to be your reading. I have your cards and oracles already shuffled. I thought this reading was going to be short, but that didn't happen for pile 1, so we'll see what happens for you. So to start, we have the Knight of Wands. We have the Four of Swords. We have the Two of Cups. And we have the Page of Wands. Okay. Interesting. Now, looking at your oracles, we have the Chariot. Well, I guess this is technically tarot, but I'm considering it an oracle because I don't see the oracle police or the tarot police. And if they show up, I'll post bail. I don't care. We also have even a hot girl like you needs rest, which you can change girl to whatever fits you. I almost use this as one of the piles, and I'm so glad I didn't, because clearly you guys were meant to get it. Maybe, well, it wouldn't have been your pile, so yeah, clearly you guys were meant to get it. So we also have deep replenishment, retreat, rest, be held. We have magical blessings. Whatever you're going through, you're being assisted by magical fairy blessings. The fairies say you can bless others too. We have, I cannot fulfill everyone's needs. I will choose wisely who I'll give my time and energy to. We have rose without thorns. You have a right to your joy, peace, sweetness of life. And finally, we have fluorite with introspection. Do I have any fluorite around? Yeah, I do. This guy is fluorite. I'll put him here. Okay. So pile 2. Interesting. I definitely feel like, a big message that your inner Barbie girl is giving you right now is how important it is for you to take time out and rest, especially mental rest. The fact that we have the Four of Swords here and this reassuring rose, I feel like there could be a situation in your life, like for example, with another person. This deck itself is bachelor themed. So bachelor, bachelorette themed. So this could be, and let's be real, Barbie got Ken. In most Barbie movies, she has a boo. So it is not shocking to me that there would be a pile about someone else. But one big message that I'm getting is that for one, if you're in a relationship, if there's like a lull in your relationship right now, either because of outside circumstances or miscommunications or whatever it may be, I feel like you're really being encouraged to not let your mind run away with fear around that, or jump to conclusions. I also think you're being called to look at how much of like your part, like for example, let's say you're with someone and you guys are having a disagreement, let's say for example, your person is upset at you, like the person you're with is upset at you, and they don't want to talk to you for a while. Let's just say that. And they say, I need a couple days to just like clear my head. That does not mean that you have to sit there and worry and be so sad that that they're upset. You can introspect on the situation, but you also don't have to let it be something that gets in the way of your own ability to find peace in the present. That was a weird example, so I don't know who that will resonate for, but for a lot of you, I wouldn't be shocked if you're like dating or like seeing multiple people or are very single, in the sense that you may be worried you're not going to find the right person, or you may be feeling like, you may be feeling pressured by the outside world that like, oh, maybe I need to settle down, or maybe I just need to keep going. And I feel like the biggest message coming through from your inner Barbie girl is that rest is productive, and you can get a lot further by doing a lot less. Because I do feel like you might honestly wear yourself out sometimes. But also I feel like there's just a big message of reassurance around your deservingness of love and sharing that love with one special person or multiple special people, depending on what your preference is. And the right person for you is never going to force you to conform to their timeline or their expectations. It's going to be a mutual agreement. There's a lot of like newer energy here. And I feel like you may be reaching a place in life where you've been doing a lot of work, especially a lot of like inner work, healing work. And it's like maybe you've had like a lot of breakthroughs recently about like things in your life that have led you to more awareness within yourself, more healing, things like that. And maybe you anticipated that you were like going to get so much energy from these, and maybe these breakthroughs have actually led you to being like completely exhausted. If that's the case, I feel like your inner child is an inner Barbie girl, which your inner Barbie girl could be your inner child, your higher self, all that wrapped up. It could really be anything. Oh, there's a little rose petal. I am going to put her here. Oh, and it looks like a little heart. I feel like there's a lot your inner world is trying to tell you right now. Like if there are questions that you have been ruminating over and feeling like I should have this figured out, or I need to figure this out, I feel like actually one of the best things you can do is give whatever you're trying to understand a rest. There is a specific message here, like if you are seeing someone, there is a message of reassurance here that if there is like some stagnancy in communication, or if this person has been a little bit distant, I think it is because of like personal things that have nothing to do with you. And I think that if that is something that is creating a lot of like turmoil and stress, like feel free to like say like, hey, is everything okay? Is there anything I can do? Like, but also to recognize that you don't have to let those situations like drain so much energy from you. I feel like more than anything, I kind of just want to get like the relational messages out of the way, because there's a lot here about you. So another message I'm getting from your inner Barbie girl is that, you know, the right person for you is never going to force you to be any less of yourself, force you to conform to what they think is right. And also, anyone that's truly meant for you is not going to fall for the person that you think you should be. They're going to fall for who you genuinely are, and for that I didn't need to continue adding to that. But you may have this energy of like, if I don't go out and get it for myself, it'll never happen. If I don't go and do things, then I'll never get them. And maybe you're motivated from a place of like struggle or frustration, and maybe things getting better in your life is something that you're afraid of because, oh, like what if I don't have the same motivation? Or maybe you hold guilt around that, or maybe you feel like, oh, because things are going well for me, I should lend myself to others. I don't know what it is for you, because obviously it's a general reading, and there are different energies, different experiences, different semantics. But I feel like the biggest thing your inner Barbie girl wants you to know is that, one, you don't need to be in a rush. You're not going to get anywhere any faster by rushing. One example that I'll give is the author of the guidebook that we're going to finish off with. Her name is Lana Fairchild. I plug her a lot because I think she's incredible. She talks about how she had like manuscripts of books written for like 10 years before they ever got published, because the publisher that was meant to publish them didn't exist when she created those books. And there was a lot of waiting and a lot of trusting and a lot of uncertainty around whether those books would ever be published or things like that. And so the point of that being is like, you could be ready for a manifestation, but the person that is going to bring that manifestation or help that manifestation come to fruition, they may not be ready yet. So like, for example, a partner, you know, if you're trying to manifest a partner, you might be thinking, oh, what am I not doing? What am I doing wrong? And it may be that you're not doing anything wrong. It may be that that the person that's meant to come into your life is not ready yet. And so you just need to vibe and like not let the uncertainty of what's to come get in the way of your ability to enjoy right now. Because I think that there's this part of you that feels like if you're not moving forward, then you're stagnating, or that you're doing something wrong. Maybe you are somebody who just likes to be on the go a lot, or likes to do a lot of things and get a lot done. But maybe you're experiencing a lot of fatigue that you've never experienced before, or maybe you just find yourself not having the motivation or the energy to do very much, but just hang out. And that might be something that's making you feel very guilty, making you feel very bad about yourself, and which, first of all, is such a bad and dumb, and well, I'm not calling you dumb, but like the idea that we're any less worthy, that the idea that our value is based on productivity in the first place is, in my opinion, criminal. But you deserve to fight that perspective and give yourself that rest. I feel like this exhaustion that you may be experiencing is directly linked to the universe trying to get you to rest. Because maybe there's something about rest that, like, well, let me be clear. Rest doesn't just have to be like sleeping or just like chilling on the couch watching TV. It could be mental rest. So for example, doing a social media detox for a few days, or you know, if you've got a lot of mental energy but not a lot of physical energy, maybe going for a nice walk where you can just kind of be in nature and you know, feel the nurturing energies that nature bring, and go through that and rest that way. Rest can be spending time with people that uplift you and make you feel good about yourself. There are so many different types of rest, is what I'm trying to say. But I do think that you are in a process right now of learning to embrace all of these breakthroughs that you've had and all these realizations that you've had. And in that process, I think that there's just going to be periods of time where you do need more time for rest, because like it takes a lot of energy to integrate new things. It takes a lot of energy to change. It takes a lot of energy to grow and evolve. And on top of that, you have these breakthroughs, but then you have societal conditioning and messages everywhere that are negative, that are fearful, that are designed to make you buy, or designed to make you feel insecure, designed to get you to be vulnerable in a way where whatever messaging is trying to get to you, so it can either get your attention or get your time, get your money, whatever it is, in order for them to prosper. Like, for example, the news cycle. Like, the news is designed to outrage and, you know, invoke emotion, because that is what drives people to watch it. That's what, you know, we didn't even have a 24-hour news cycle until OJ, and they realized, oh, we can profit off of terrible things and make tons of money. Which I don't know why I'm talking about that. The 24-hour news cycle. But if you feel like maybe that's kind of relevant for you. Like, maybe you feel like if something new isn't constantly happening, then you're stagnating or doing something wrong. Or if you're not constantly up to date on what's going on, then you're going to miss out on something, or something of that nature. Like, I feel like what you need to know is that you deserve to have people that can keep up with you, but you also deserve to recognize how you may be sleeping on yourself by being so focused on doing things in the outside world, by being so focused on what you think you should be doing. I feel like there's a part of you that has a hard time just allowing yourself to rest in the beautiful things that you've created for yourself, whether that's simply just creating a bed that is made for you to enjoy when you get in that night, or, you know, quite literally creating a life for yourself that you've always dreamed of, or creating a space that you love to be in, or whatever you have created for yourself and cultivated for yourself. You know, you deserve to enjoy that. And you deserve to look at the parts of yourself that refuse to let you embrace and like appreciate that stuff. So another thing that you need to know is that there are a lot of blessings coming your way, and you don't need to run to them, because even if you did, you're going to have to wait for them to come at the right time anyway. It's like the post office opens at 8 a.m. It doesn't matter if you're there at 6 a.m. You're not going to be able to mail anything yet. You have to wait for it to freaking open. And so why go through all that effort? Let yourself sleep an extra hour and a half and then, you know, head to the post office at 8. That's kind of what I'm describing is kind of Spirit's way of saying rest is not slowing you down. Rest is not taking you away from what's meant for you. Rest is giving yourself the replenishment and the nourishment that you need in order to embrace life, in order to come at life with your best self. And it keeps you from having to take a lot longer to rest because you may be pushing yourself to burnout. You know, if like you have this desire to be the best or do the most or grow and evolve, you know, that's a wonderful thing. But I also think there's a part of you that needs the room and the freedom to just be chaotic and silly and have fun and be spontaneous. I think spontaneity is a very important thing for you. And I actually think that if you are waiting to meet someone, or if you feel like, if you're trying to manifest something, like, I think spontaneity could be the key to like making this happen. I think that you're really being encouraged to even like rest spontaneously. Like if you plan one day, oh, I'm gonna repaint my room, and then you wake up and you're like, I actually think I'm gonna rest today. Do that. Maybe you paint half a wall and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do this later. Do it. Who cares if you have half a wall painted? You get to it later. Like, there's so much here about recognizing that you have needs beyond what you think you do. And a lot of the needs that you're not addressing are ones that you might find frustrating because they require you to slow down, or they require you to be in a state that you're less comfortable with, either because you were taught that or you are just naturally that way. But more than anything, I think that answers that you've been seeking in the outside world, those are going to come to you when you are taking time to rest and care for yourself. I also think that you're really being encouraged to recognize that you deserve to feel joyful, you deserve to feel good, and you deserve to have blessings in your life. You may feel like if you don't work for things, if you don't always go after things, then you're not going to get what you're dreaming of. You may not get your Barbie dream house, and that's not true. Like, you are really being called to look at how you pressure yourself from expectation and obligation and from shame or fear or a belief that you have to do something, rather than trusting yourself and your own inner compass to navigate you and to navigate you in the perfect time, in the perfect way. You know, I feel like you could be a naturally energetic person, and if you are struggling with a lack of energy right now, I think it is because you just need more time to rest. You could very much be burnt out. And I think it's important to look at how you can be your own best lover, in the sense that, you know, for example, if you don't have a person in your life, you may be doing the necessary work right now of figuring out what your needs are and what actually makes you happy and what you actually enjoy before taking a plunge for something more significant. But also one energy and one message I'm getting as well is that you don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to be in a committed monogamous relationship if that's not something that you want. Now, if you're interested in someone that wants that, there might be some like issues that you have to grow through, or you may decide like, oh, okay, like we have different needs and desires. Like this is, even though there's a vibe here, even though we're into each other, like this seems like it's not going to work out. If you feel guilt about wanting to see multiple people, or feel guilt about, for example, being non-monogamous or polyamorous, like those are things to look within yourself. Like, why am I shaming myself for these things? Is it because I've been taught that that's bad or wrong? Or is it because I've been internalizing, you know, mainstream beliefs around that? But on the flip side, if you are someone who does genuinely desire a monogamous, committed relationship with someone, and you're settling for people that don't want that, you know, asking yourself, is that fair to me? Is that fair to them? Because, you know, if someone truly cares about you, they're going to want to meet your needs and want to be able to like support you. But obviously someone's not going to stop. Hopefully people aren't going to stop doing what truly works for them, to the detriment of themselves. But like one vibe that I'm getting is that, you know, for example, is like, if you are exploring seeing multiple people, that's okay. And you can also decide at any point that you don't want to see anyone. That's also okay. I feel like no matter whatever, your inner Barbie girl is really telling you that whatever phase in life you are at right now, that is okay. Whatever feelings, thoughts, experiences you're having, that is okay. Whatever is going on is okay. You are okay. What's not okay is beating yourself up for what you want. Beating yourself up because you think that you're unworthy or undeserving of what you truly want. You know, if you're settling for things that don't genuinely bring you happiness, yeah, you're probably going to get frustrated and start resenting others, resenting yourself, and that's not right. I feel like you're really being called down a path of peace and joy. And with the Chariot here, I feel that you are meant to have someone or multiple people, which you're meant to have people in your life that can be right there alongside with you, that are a good balance to you. You deserve to have people in your life that support the direction you're headed in and fit your vibe in a way where you don't have to constantly explain yourself. You know, there are some people that are committed to misunderstanding us. And if you're holding on to those people in your life, that might be something that's taking you away from your peace that you might want to be aware of. I definitely think that if you've been neglecting rest in favor of helping others, that is something that you want to look at as maybe something to address. I also think you might want to ask yourself if you're the type of person to do the absolute most because you want your romantic interest or other people to see you as the best, and it comes at the cost of like your sanity, your health, your wellness. And maybe that desire to quote unquote be the best, maybe one thing you're meant to see is that the validation from others will never feel as good as the recognition within yourself that you're enough, whether you're the best or not. You don't need to be Ricky Bobby. You know, that idea of if you're not first, then you're last. That's not true. Like, and life isn't a competition the way we like deem it to be. You know, humans are weird and competitive, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to be competitive unless like it gets in the way of your ability to enjoy life and be happy. But if you're treating life as a competition or treating life as like this series of accomplishments, you're missing out on that journey. You know, life's about the journey, not the destination, man. And I think right now, like, you're really being encouraged to look at how you can make your life a little sweeter and how you can make self-care and rest an enjoyable thing. So, you know, if you are someone who likes to move and get active, you know, maybe just dancing more to music that you love in the comfort of your own home. Or if you really enjoy being creative, taking a class that you enjoy, maybe you'll meet new people that you really enjoy being around. And I also think too, you know, if you're really focused on like a significant other, you're also being encouraged to look at the other types of like loves that you can have in your life, like, you know, the platonic loves, the familial loves, and how those loves can meet your needs and be a form of rest too. I think that there's just a lot here about recognizing that you don't have to do the most all the time to be acceptable. And it is okay to be subpar, which I don't even like saying the term be subpar, but you might perceive like taking time to yourself as being subpar, and that's just not true. There's just a real call here to recognize that you're exactly where you need to be and everything is okay. I think that if you're seeking answers anywhere, those answers you're going to find within you. And so if you can find a way to get connected to your inner self, whether that's through journaling, through card pulling, through therapy, through counseling, through life coaching, whatever it may be for you, whatever works for you. I really think that you need to look at ways to get in touch with your inner self more, because I think that this exhaustion and fatigue that you may be experiencing could be, at least in one way, directly related to the fact that there's a lot you're carrying within you that needs to be released, that doesn't need to be there anymore, that's disturbing your peace and taking you away from yourself. I feel like you deserve to celebrate yourself more, to celebrate your life more, and to celebrate your complexity and your chaos. I think it's time to take a look at what choices, which it's interesting that we have like one girl, many choices, and it says, I will choose wisely who I give my time and energy to. I also think you should choose wisely about what you give your time and energy to. So are you giving your time and energy to fear and doom scrolling through TikToks about the latest news? Which, first of all, if you're getting your news from anything like that, stop. Just stop. Like, it's not good. Not that mainstream media is any more credible or trustworthy. I mean, the real thing is we don't know anything, and we only know what they choose to tell us and how they choose to say it. We never know really what's going on with anything ever. So don't feel like you need to be obligated to be informed on everything, because even people that think they're informed are not as, we can never be fully informed on anything and everything. It's impossible. I feel like if you've been holding yourself to certain paths or certain like strict ways of I must do things this way or that way, I think that there is a part of yourself that you are not, that's a need you're not addressing, because I think there is a need on your end for freedom and for fun, and you may be feeling like, well, I can't have fun and be successful, or I can't enjoy my life and be the best that I can be. And that's not true. I think it actually will be easier to be the best you can be when all parts of you are met and replenished. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead now and pull some channeled messages from your inner Barbie girl. But while I'm shuffling, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everyone who takes the time to leave me a little like or a comment, subscribe. Like, that stuff helps me so much, more than you would realize. And also another thing that's incredibly helpful, letting the ads play in the background while you do something else. That is a free way for you to support me financially, so thank you to everyone who does that. But yeah, I'm just grateful you're here and grateful to be reading for you. And yeah, I'm grateful you are doing the work to be the version of yourself that you're happy with and that feels more like you. So Pile 2's inner Barbie girl, what guidance do you have for Pile 2 at this time? Self-love is the key to truly harmonious relationships and manifestation. Spend some quality time with yourself right now and work on truly loving and valuing all parts of yourself. Yeah, essentially exactly what I was saying. But also, it's so true in the sense of, like, for example, you may have, like, if you're in a relationship and you're having, like, relationship problems, you may be feeling like the onus is on the other person. But what you may not be realizing is that maybe you're expecting the other person to meet a need that only you can meet. Or maybe you're, like, for example, if you are the type of person to expect others to just read your mind, you might get frustrated and resent them when they don't meet your needs. But it's like, how can they meet your needs if they don't know what you actually need and you don't express what you need? Obviously, I'm not saying that you do that, but like, that's a very common thing where people, you know, will beat around the bush about what they truly want rather than just outright saying it. Why they do that, I don't know. There could be many reasons. Maybe they feel like, maybe they're ashamed of their needs. Maybe they are afraid to ask for their needs, for their needs to be met. Maybe they're afraid to even admit to themselves that they have needs. But I really do feel like one big way that you can show love to yourself right now is give yourself a freaking break and give yourself the freedom to be flawed and chaotic and do the things that just bring you joy for the sake of the fact that they bring you joy and nothing else. And I also think being in that energy is going to align you with the right people. And I think that if you're currently in a relationship with someone, I think that it's important to know that, like, I feel like with this reassuring rose, like, rumination isn't going to help anything, But if you are taking like time apart, it would be really good to like reflect on everything and kind of go within and see what you need to know about the situation. But if you're not in a relationship with someone, I think you're really just being encouraged to look at how you can add more love in your life now, because that will help attract the exact right person that you're meant to meet. Maybe you'll even meet them doing a restful thing. Who knows? Anyway, what else, Spirit? What else does Pile 2's inner Barbie girl want them to know? Find the luxuries in the small things and the big things in your life. Allow yourself to feel proud of your accomplishments and successes, the abundance that follows you, and the abundance that follows you. You are deserving of the rewards coming to you. Yeah, there are like there's a lot of beauty here. And I feel like the thing is that if you don't take, like, you do not want to live your life constantly pushing for more and then look back at the end of your life and be like, wow, I wish I would have actually enjoyed that more. You know, that's not what these blessings and this abundance is not meant to be just unacknowledged in favor of what now you don't have. Does that make sense? One more. Pile 2's inner Barbie girl, what messages do you have for Pile 2? Oh, I guess we're getting 2. Let go of whatever it is that you've been holding on to so tightly out of fear of losing it. Know that whatever is yours will have a way of being in your life without needing to force it. Finally, let go and feel the weight lifted off of you. It's time for you to be uniquely and proudly yourself, regardless of any perceived societal standards or norms. Don't try to squeeze yourself into a box that doesn't fit your outline. Be you. Yeah, and don't feel like, you know, there are so many rigid, narrow perspectives that people have, and other people's lack of imagination is not your responsibility to fulfill and support. You know, you can be many things at once. Just like Barbie. She's a doctor, lawyer in space. And she also has great taste. And she also has a cool house. And she changes her job all the time. And I feel like your inner Barbie girl wants you to live, like, your inner Barbie girl does not care about, well, maybe it does. But if it does, it's not the only thing. Your inner Barbie girl is not as concerned about the white picket fence and the nuclear family. If that's something you genuinely want, then, like, that's beautiful. And that's definitely something within your realm of possibility. But if that's never been something that you've wanted, you're being called to recognize that, like, pushing towards that standard or pushing towards something closer to that standard is not going to do anything other than make you more miserable and maybe drag people who actually want that into a situation where the other person doesn't really want that. I feel like your inner Barbie girl, what your inner Barbie girl cares about is having experiences and doing things that are exciting. So whether that's traveling, whether that's changing your job for like 50 million times, whether that's just going through the cycles of life and experiencing them as they come, I feel like that's what your inner Barbie girl cares about. Your inner Barbie girl wants to grow, experience, and live. Your inner Barbie girl does not want to slave away, doing something that they're completely miserable doing for the glimpse of, oh, well, maybe I'll retire one day and blah, 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 blah. That's not a bad thing that if you want that. But what I'm saying is like, even if you want a steady job and a white picket fence, your inner Barbie girl still wants the opportunity to travel, to experience new things, and to grow and evolve. Even if you don't want to leave the company you're at, you might want to try a different position. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, even if you crave stability, you still need variety. Your inner Barbie girl needs variety within that stability. Does that make sense? You need growth. You need things that make you feel young, that excite you, and that you enjoy. And if you're not there and not doing that and not prioritizing the opportunity to have those experiences, then you are missing out on feeding a part of yourself that needs to be fed. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with I know it's red, ignore that, but it's still a great deck. It's the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. So we're going to see what guidance it has for you. So finishing off for Pile 2, Spirit, what guidance does their inner Barbie girl have for them at this time that could be most beneficial? Okay, I forgot about this card. This is technically a slur against the Roma people. So I apologize. I'm not going to be saying the word for that reason. I do not want to be offensive or hurt anyone. But I'm still going to see what the card is, because I feel like that's not fair. But obviously, you know, the Roma people are known for being travelers, you know, not staying in one place. And I definitely think that energy is very fitting for you. Like, I do feel like you do like to be moving, but you can rest while you move. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't enjoy resting at home, but you might enjoy resting at like a retreat, or resting by going on a trip and experiencing a new thing. But just that being said, I apologize. I completely forgot this card was in the deck. And yeah, I would never want to harm or offend anyone. Trying to be as respectful as possible. You are encouraged to say yes to new opportunities and adventures, ideas, and connections, especially the ones that fill your heart with a sense of excitement, perhaps just before your mind begins to dwell on doubts and concerns, trying to take you out of something before you even give it a chance. You can handle the unfamiliar better than most. Once you get your bearings, you'll find a way to thrive, to enjoy what you discover and experience. Let the yearning of your soul to explore the new and exciting inspire you. The unfamiliar and the unknown hold great blessings for you. Open up yourself to new horizons. Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of new experiences coming to you. There's a wanderlust in your soul, that heart quest for new worlds and amazing experiences. You are supposed to feel this way. You have a wandering soul, a free spirit, that will always seek out something new and different. This is just how your life is meant to be, a divine adventure. And there is an adventure that is meant just for you, places to see, people to meet, experiences to have. You are meant to go on a journey inside of yourself and out in the world. You are meant to explore a world bigger than the one you currently know. It is going to happen. Trust in divine timing. Be open to what life has for you. Maybe you are a little afraid and wonder if you are brave enough. Quick answer, you are brave enough, and then some. Maybe you worry that you've missed your chance, but you cannot miss destiny. It is right here waiting for you, and your free spirit is going to grow and fulfill even more of the purpose for which you were born. Okay, so here is the ritual if you would like to do that for yourself. Once again, I apologize about the card. I would never ever intentionally want to harm anyone or say anything that is offensive or harmful. Yeah, I forgot about this card, but I mean, it's a very fitting card for the reading, and very affirming in the sense that I felt like, yeah, you are so meant to experience and grow and learn and evolve. And what is going to be meaningful for you is not how much money you made at the end of your life or who you ended up with. It's going to be about the experiences you had, the people that you met, the loves that you had, the loves that you lost, the loves that it's going to be about so much. And the most important thing is you not shame yourself. And, just because you're different doesn't mean that that's bad or wrong. It just means that you want something that other people don't, and that's okay. And we need people that are brave enough to do that, and it seems like you're one of those. So pile 2, thank you so much for watching and for being here. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for watching my ads as well, because that's one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support and appreciation for what I do. But if you would like to support me in any other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Shout out to my notification squad if you want me to see your comments. I most often see comments when I first upload. You can also check out my merch, my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off, and my social media. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this adorable card with this little girl and the word nope, then this is going to be your reading on messages from your inner Barbie girl. And I don't know why, but that also made me think of Parks and Recreation, the show. Leslie Knope, her character. So I don't know, that could be significant for someone. But we're going to go ahead and start by looking at your tarot cards, and then I will lay out your oracles. So to start, we have the Three of Pentacles. We have the Two of Cups. We have the Knight of Swords. And we have the King of Cups. Okay. We also have, is love enough? And the Hermit. We have the Grandmothers, remember your roots, perspectives, trust the weavings. Okay. We have Warrior Woman, have you answered your deepest calling? We have Stargazing. When you gaze at the stars, you give yourself very focused. Your intuition will flow more freely and reveal what you need to know about your situation. We have Transition with Calcite and the Moon. I guess Moon energy, that transition. And finally, we have I am more important than the things I need to do, which I feel like really needs to go right here. I love how much it matches. So pile 3, your message is really interesting because it's a lot about your inner Barbie girl is here to, one, remind you of who you are and how special you are, and also to remind you, and in those reminders, also remind you why it is so important that you be your own best advocate and prioritize what you truly need. The fact that we have the Three of Pentacles and the Two of Cups, both of those cards in the traditional Rider-Waite involve other people. And the Three of Pentacles, 2 other people, and the Two of Cups, 2 other people. And, you know, the Two of Cups often represents love, relationships, mutual harmony, a committed relationship where both parties mutually love and respect one another, are mutually reciprocal. There's a lot of joy, a lot of celebration, communion. And the Three of Pentacles is a lot about work. It's a lot about working with others. It's a lot about showing others what you're capable of achieving. It's about, you know, group work and working together. And I feel like one big issue in your life is that you are very caring and kind and compassionate towards others. I really genuinely feel like this King of Cups is you. You don't have to be a water sign to be in this card, but the King of Cups is just the most evolved of the water court cards. And I really think that you make decisions from a place of compassion and from care. And maybe one thing that you've been realizing as of late, or maybe one like hard thing that you've been going through, is this recognition that other people wouldn't do what you would do for them. And you may be feeling this sense of like, what is my value? You may be feeling this sense of like, well, I don't know what you're feeling. To be honest, I feel like there could be a variation of how you're feeling about that. Like for some of you, it could have made you realize like, oh wow, I deserve better and I deserve more, and you're working towards that. Or you could have thought, you know, why wasn't I enough? Why couldn't they meet me why couldn't they see me the way I saw them? Like, and I feel like one thing you need to know and understand is, and one thing that your inner Barbie girl definitely wants you to know, is that your big heart is something that is so special and is so needed and so important, especially because there are so many people in this world that are not tapped into their heart space, that have either no access to it because they don't want to, or have no access to it because they are so preoccupied with lower vibrational energies that that's just not something that they're open to right now. And I feel like one thing you're also learning is that love isn't enough. Like, just because you love someone, like, or someone says that they love you, you know, if they're not meeting your needs, if they're not supporting you, if they're not kind to you, if they don't respect you, like, which I would say, like, you know, even in that case especially, like, that person either doesn't know what love is, or they're being manipulative, because love, you know, that Corinthians quote that's like, love is patient, love is kind, Love does not take, it simply allows and gives. Love does not boast, it is not proud. All that good stuff. I definitely feel like you have fallen, I don't want to say victim, but like you have definitely been, I don't want to say the word swindled either, but you've definitely been manipulated by people who, oh, I'm hearing like a really loud ringing in my left ear. But you've definitely been manipulated by people by taking advantage of your kind heart. And whether that's something that's presently occurring that you are working through, or whether that's something that you've realized and now you're just like, where do I go from here? The biggest thing that your inner Barbie girl wants to remind you is that you are not a bad person by saying no to what doesn't serve you. The fact that we have that nope card here, you might feel guilty for saying no. You might feel guilty for rejecting someone or rejecting what they have to offer. And one example of this is, you know, say for example, you're in a leadership position at work and someone isn't doing their job, and maybe you're afraid of talking to them about that, or being more stern or being honest about feedback. And so you don't address the issue and then it doesn't get fixed, or, you know, it turns into a bigger issue than it would have if maybe you just addressed it in the first place. Like, that doesn't have to be for everyone, but I feel like there's just this big energy here of recognizing that you are capable of giving so much and you are so self-sufficient that you may not recognize how much you deserve to receive and what equal balance actually looks like. I also see in work as well. It seems like you're a very driven and independent individual. Like, the vibe that I get from you is like when you were in school, you were the one that, like, if there was a group project, you were the one that ended up doing the work, or people deferred to you to do the work. And you're probably that type of person to not call the others out and just present it like it was group work. You know what I mean? But there's a fierceness to you that I think that you have a hard time acknowledging. And I think it's because you do have such a big heart and you are afraid of hurting other people with your truth. But the thing is that it's far less loving to placate and be dishonest about what you're really thinking and feeling, because you can be honest and be kind. You know, there are people that are like, well, I just tell the truth, and if you don't like it, that's your problem. And it's like, you can be honest and be kind. If you are being honest from a place of cruelty, like, you're just being cruel. Like, that's it. But there's a lot of energy here around you, in the sense that I feel like there's a lot of healing that you're doing around boundaries, around what you are willing to put up with versus what you actually deserve, the people that you're willing to accept in your life. And I think one big thing, especially like the fact that we have the grandmothers here, I really think that you have a lot of ancestral energy around you that will find ways to get people to leave your life if you can't seem to do it yourself, if they are not serving you. But I feel like the thing is that you're not embracing this part of yourself that's actually particularly vicious. And the thing is that you don't have to use that viciousness towards others, but that vicious side of you can be something that you use to your benefit, in the sense that when you tap into that side of yourself, you will be able to recognize when other people are in that energy, or when other people have that side to them. Because maybe it's possible that deceptive people left you blindsided about their deception because you trusted what they told you. And that's not a bad thing, but it is very hurtful and painful when they don't follow through on what they say. And you might think that it's because there's something wrong with you, or how could you be so stupid, and it doesn't make you dumb. But, you know, I think as you've grown, there is this just aversion to causing any pain to others, because you know what it feels like to be in pain yourself. And the thing is that you can't protect other people from pain. You can't protect other people from their own suffering. Suffering has its role in the world the same way everything else does. And a lot of your emotional intelligence has come from immense emotional pain and the growth that came from that and the awareness that came from that. And what you need to know and what your inner Barbie girl wants you to know is that you're not a doll. You're a human being. You don't deserve to just be played with and tossed aside when you're done. You deserve to be cherished and loved and held and honored and appreciated for who you are, not for what you do or what you give to those people. There's a call for you to be more assertive and to continue recognizing where you are selling yourself short and where you are not giving yourself enough credit. I think that you are extremely comfortable being on your own, being isolated, but I think you have a hard time enjoying that isolation if you feel like someone is depending on you, or that isolation comes at the expense of having to say no to someone else or say no to a plan. I feel like you're really being encouraged to look at what is not satisfying you right now in your life, especially if it's an easy fix or something that you're doing only out of obligation or because you think you should. Like, for example, let's say you work from home and you have free hours, but you wake up every day at 8 a.m., even though you hate it. Why? I don't know. I just think I should. Sleep in. Work at night. Do what you want. Like, there's so much here around recognizing that you don't have to do things a certain way just because other people do. You can say no. You can disagree. And that's another thing too. You're allowed to disagree with other people. You're allowed to decide that you don't want someone in your life. You're allowed to say no to someone that wants you in their life. You're allowed to say no in general. And I think that no is something that you need to say more of, especially when it comes to, unnecessary obligations that you are doing from a place of love or doing from a place of you feel like you should, because that stuff is taking away valuable time that you could be using to connect with yourself, to spend time with yourself, and to grow and evolve. I think that your work life and your love life and whatever, unless you're not interested in romantic partnerships whatsoever, or any kind of them, then I would just say this is connections in general. But your inner Barbie girl is really asking you to take both logic and emotion when it comes to assessing these things in your life. When it comes to work and like coworkers, for example, do you have coworkers that take advantage of your time or energy because they're above you, or because they think they can get away with it, or because they, give you a sob story every time you talk to them? Are there friendships that take up a lot of time and energy because they're treating you as a personal therapist, or they are so consumed with their own problems that they're not open to genuine back and forth? Romantic relationships, if you're dating people, are they actually meeting your needs? Are they meeting your expectations? Do you feel like there is a mutual give and take? Do you feel like, are you comfortable in things? Do you feel like there's a balance? I think there's a real sense of like righteousness on the divine's end where they're really tired of seeing you be walked all over by people that you either know are doing that, but you're just too afraid to stand up for yourself, or by people that are walking all over you under the guise of love or of care or of because this is what's best for you, because that's not true. It's manipulation, and they want you to know that. And they also want you to trust your intuitive hits about people. Like, if you feel like someone's being deceptive but they're not saying that, trust that. Doesn't mean you call them out and say, oh, I knew you were lying, but be aware of that. Be observant. I feel like there's a lot here around recognizing that you are so much more than you give yourself credit for. And there are people capable of meeting you as deeply as you can meet them, but it's going to be really hard to find them or to be open to them if there are other people standing in the way of that. So like, for example, if you're holding on to a relationship where you're absolutely miserable and every day feels like a fight and a struggle, but you're afraid to let go because, you know, it's scary and hard to think about moving forward. You may still like very much love the person, but know that things aren't really going to change. That might be something where you recognize like, wow, maybe love isn't enough here. Like maybe I need someone that I can really do life with and is giving me a similar amount of like energy that I'm giving back. Like, you are so much more important than material items or being there to just serve others. I think there is a part of you that is deeply committed to serving others and that gets a lot of joy from that, but you have to be able to serve yourself as well. And I know this is a typical like, oh, love yourself, but it's so much more than that. It's well, like your inner Barbie girl wants you to learn to love yourself enough to be honest with the people in your life or that want to be in your life or that are, and to be honest with yourself about what you deserve, because I feel like you think you settle for less because you worry you don't deserve more, and that's not fair to you. Like, I mean, you guys even chose the OK tarot. Like, you're not just okay. You're amazing. And there's so much more to you than you give yourself credit for. And I think that you deserve people in your life that are going to support you and also be there to call out when they think other people are taking advantage of you or when they think that maybe you aren't being fair to yourself. The fact that we have Warrior Woman here, I really feel like you're being encouraged to recognize that it's okay to upset other people. It's okay to not meet their needs. It's not okay to meet their needs at the expense of yourself, but this Nine of Swords here is about being honest and being real and recognizing where maybe you are making excuses for other people, where you're maybe making excuses for yourself, where you may be isolating from the outside world because you're afraid of being around people that take from you again. I feel like you could be in this energy of, I'm just gonna do me and I'm just gonna stay in my own energy and that's good enough for me. And I feel like one thing your inner Barbie girl wants you to recognize is that you're not meant to just be isolated. Like, humans are social creatures, but you know, it takes discernment to have the right kinds of people around you. And I think that right now what you're truly learning is how to, like, I think that you are more discerning than you realize. I think there's a part of you that just has a hard time coming to terms with and admitting when someone in your life may not be good for you or someone may not have your best interests at heart. So I think that this is a lot about being honest with yourself and being honest about the fact that, like, yes, it's hard to upset other people, but that is life. And if you're doing things in a way that aligns with your integrity, that's the best you can do. You know, you're not responsible for other people's emotions, and you're certainly not responsible for how they use those emotions and how they act because of those emotions. I feel like this transition is a lot about recognizing that nobody else is going to be your knight in shining armor that says, hey, pile 3 deserves this, and we're going to make that happen for pile 3. Or pile 3 cannot have anyone less than, that is willing to give them less than XYZ. Or pile 3, here's all the people that are actually going to support you in life. Here's the job that's going to support you in life. Here's this, here's that. That's not going to happen. You're going to do that for yourself. And that starts by recognizing your needs, recognizing what you want, being brave enough to ask for what you want, being strong enough to regulate yourself when your truth comes at the expense of someone else's desires, recognizing when it's not okay to be taken advantage of, especially at work. If you have people that are taking credit for your work, or if you're in school and you're letting people take credit for the work that you did, speak up, please, because those are the types of people that just, they keep doing it because they keep getting away with it. And it's not fair to you. I feel like this is a lot about embracing your inner badass Barbie and recognizing that you can be anything you want to be. And you deserve someone who's going to love and support all that you are, not love and support the version of you that meets their needs and does only what they want. I think that this shift in energy, where you start embracing who you truly are, where you start being unapologetic about what you want, about what you need, that's not only going to help you in relationships, that's also going to help you in your career, in your worldly life. I mean, even if your career, like even if your quote unquote work is like you're a stay-at-home parent, it's not like you exist in a vacuum without any other parents. I mean, I'm sure your children have friends, and I'm sure that your children are friends with parents that are either shady or unkind or, you know, or are like manipulative or unfair. Like, even just being honest with like those types of people and saying like, hey, I can't do the bake sale, I'm sorry. Or, you know what, I'm not going to be available for the bake sale. I'm not making your gluten-free, sugar-free, fun-free grain balls. I don't know. I'm just riffing. But, and also being that way towards yourself. Because, like, for example, if you are a parent, you probably have a hard time taking time for yourself to meet your own needs. And so that could be something, for example, that you need to stand up for yourself about, whether that's like, you know, asking your partner to fill in, or standing up to yourself and saying, hey, we can't keep neglecting ourselves to this point because we're not even able to be the best parents when our needs are not being met. There's so much here about like, you have so much wisdom within you, but so much fear in expressing it because of not wanting to hurt other people's feelings, and because of worrying that you're asking for too much or you're doing too much, or people might think negatively of you. Who cares? People will think negatively of you for absolutely no reason. You could be literally doing nothing and you could still be the villain in someone's story. Like, it does not matter what other people think of you. Of course, you will care about it, and of course, it is nice to be liked. But if you care more about being liked than you do about liking the life you live, loving the life you live, that is not going to be good for you. It's not going to be a very fun time for you. And I really do feel like you're just being asked to continue being your best advocate, your own best advocate. Continue looking at the world with whimsy and wonder, and continue to be open to life without betraying yourself. Continue to be the wonderful person that you are. Just start to add a no-nonsense, the no-nonsense part of you that knows what you deserve and knows when you're pushing yourself too hard, or you're giving someone too much leeway, or you're giving too much of yourself. That and listening to that voice instead of saying like, I know I'm overextending myself, I know I'm putting too much on my plate, but I can't help it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. By saying no and learning to embrace the discomfort of disappointing someone else. Because I promise you, it feels better than doing the thing you don't want to do. I swear. And to be fair, it's not like you should never help other people, or never, you know, put a little too much on your plate or push yourself too far. But like, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not good for you. And especially if it's your normal, it's horrible for you. And I feel like there are parts of yourself that are ready to be more fully integrated. And I think a big part of yourself that's ready to be more fully integrated is the part of yourself that is strong enough to fight your own battles and to be in the battle in the first place. Whether that battle is for recognition, for your needs being met, for mutual reciprocity, for what is going to bring you more joy. Like, whatever that is, you deserve to strive for that. And you deserve to make decisions that are going to align with that. Nobody else is going to live your life for you. And I really think as you're growing and evolving, the more you're going to see, like, in hindsight, how many situations, like, you just like gave people the benefit of the doubt, or you gave people too much credit, or you didn't give yourself enough credit. And I really just think there's a need to believe in yourself more, to fight for your perspective, to fight for your value, and to fight for what you truly want, and to not let the obligations or beliefs of what other people think you should do get in the way of that. I really think this Knight of Swords energy here is here to help you recognize that your emotional body will tell you when something is right for you or not. Because if something's not right for you, you might feel a sense of dread. You might feel sick. If talking to someone, you start getting shaky and nervous and like anxious, that's definitely a sign of someone that's probably not very safe. Those signals, for example, are going to be things that you can consciously recognize and be like, okay, I'm talking to this person and I don't feel good. I feel not as good as I did before I was talking to them. Or, oh, Michaela Braley's mother is asking me to work the bake sale with her. That fills me with a sense of dread. Looks like I'm gonna be busy. Like, I really think what you're being called to do is pay attention to how things make you feel, how, and then come to a decision about what that means for you and what you should do as a result. Does that make sense? I feel like more than anything, though, this is just a lot about learning to see connections as a valuable, beautiful thing in your life. But it's not very valuable or beautiful if you're connecting with people that aren't connecting with you. They're taking from you, or, you know, using you. Those aren't connections. Those are, you know, I guess they are. Well, it's a connection in one way, in the sense that, like, anyway, point being, you will learn so much from the positive, powerful connections in your life that make you feel good about yourself, where people care for you, who you are. And I'm sure you already have examples of that and people like that in your life. I feel like you're just being encouraged to make that the standard, not the outlier. To not settle for what you think is appropriate or what you think you should do. To instead say, no, I love myself enough to not waste my precious time and energy with people that don't value my presence in the way I value theirs. So, that being said, we're going to go ahead and pull some channeled messages now with another pink deck. And we'll just see what guidance your inner Barbie girl has for you at this time. I also think there's a message here about trusting people's actions over their words. Because I do think that people can have a way with words, and like, especially like charmers and things like that, and their actions will reveal a lot more than their words will. Okay, so, all right, we already got something. Okay. So we have, there may be someone who is thinking fondly about you at this moment. You share a deep soul bond with another, and your thoughts are currently colliding. This person is meant to be in your life, whether together or apart. So for some, this could be like a loved one that has already passed on, or that you are at a distance from. But I also think that, like, this could be about literally anything, and it could be about a romantic interest. But, like, for example, if you are like, oh, this is about someone that I'm quote unquote in separation with. I don't even like using that term in separation, because like it's not actually true. Literally everything in the universe is connected, and the idea of separation is like a fallacy. So if you identify as that, first of all, let go of that title, because it's not serving you. But I mean, or do what you want. I'm not your boss. I'm just trying to give you helpful guidance there. But if you feel like this person is meant to be in your life, for example, and they are someone that who is not currently physically present in your life, an example of not just letting words or letting what someone else needs. This is a good example of like love not being enough, in the sense that, like, you know, if you are desiring to reunite with someone, but they weren't able to meet your needs, they weren't able to support you, they didn't treat you the way you deserved, like, that could be an excellent example of where you want to be like cautious about that, in the sense that if they are coming around, like, make sure they've shown you they've changed, make sure their actions match their words, make sure you're not looking at them through rose-colored glasses out of fear of seeing the truth, because the truth will always come out one way or another. Like, if someone is genuinely, even if you share like a deep soul bond with someone, people can still be deeply rooted in their ego and act in ways that are not loving or soulful. Like, we all do it all the time. We have a soul, we have a higher self, and we have an ego, and they're both at odds. So I feel like one thing that you need to know is, like, the more you can be your own best advocate and look at things from a place of love first, rationality second, in the sense of like, okay, let your emotions lead, in the sense that your emotions are data the same way logic is, and your emotions are telling you a lot. Use your logical mind to then make decisions about what's going to best support whatever the emotions are communicating to you. So we have that, and we have, you are gifted with the power of healing on a level of self and others. Step into the light and work with energy to benefit yourself and to serve others. The light is within you and all around you. And that is an excellent example of why it is so important to care for yourself and put yourself first, because you cannot help others on an empty cup. And if you do that, it will lead to compassion fatigue. It will lead to burnout. It will lead to frustration. It will lead to resentment. It will lead you to not enjoy the thing that you actually love doing that helps other people. I can say from personal experience, like, I disappear sometimes. You know why? Because I need time for myself. And like, if I just was like a content monkey and churned out whatever y'all wanted every day all the time, I would be miserable. One, because I wouldn't be caring for myself and this shit is hard. And two, you guys would suffer. Like, you wouldn't get as good of videos from me. You wouldn't get as much from me. Like, it is so important to care for yourself. And sometimes like that can be uncomfortable, because there are many times where I don't want to rest. I don't want to, I want to keep going. I want to keep moving forward. But I know that I'm just going to get into a situation where I have to rest for longer, and I just get myself into more trouble. So really trust in the magic of self-care, because like that shit is magical. But also, like, if you are someone that wants to help heal others, your own healing is of top priority. And that's another thing. Like, there are so many things that I'm like, you know, healing and growing through and evolving with, and it's like, if I spent all my time and energy just doing this, I would be useless to you, because I wouldn't be growing, I wouldn't be changing, I wouldn't have anything, you know? Does that make sense? So let go of a lot of the ideas around obligations and what you think you should do and things like that, and be more so like, what's going to work for me? What are my needs? How can I support myself? Because takers will always take. You, as a giver, you have to be willing to find those limits, and also learn to receive, because you may be very uncomfortable with that, and you can't have mutually reciprocal relationships if you're unwilling to receive what someone else is trying to give. All right, 2 more, Spirit. What else do you want pile 3 to know? Find a sacred space in your home, anywhere you feel drawn to. Dedicate this space to finding comfort, safety, and prayer. Make this spot your altar or safe haven when times get tough, or as a daily connection. And on the back of the deck, we have flow like water moving down a gentle river right now. There is nothing you must do and nothing that you are being asked to change in your life. Relax and let go and be more flexible in your way of thinking and being. So I definitely think like this definitely makes a lot of sense, because I think in general, you may worry a lot, like, oh, am I doing enough? Like, am I doing the right thing? Like, I really just think like the more you can just breathe and go with emotions, or go with the flow, and integrate that part of you that knows what you deserve, that knows what's best for you, or that is learning, start integrating that and be more unapologetic about it. Because the more unapologetic you can be about your needs and your truth and what works for you, the less difficult it will be to share that and express that, and the less mental and emotional energy you'll spend upset about upsetting other people about that. You know what I mean? Okay, but with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and finish this reading off. I know it isn't pink, but it's red, close enough. Just pretend like it's pink. I'm not gonna gaslight you into thinking it's pink because I'm nice, but I genuinely thought about doing that as a joke. Anyway, so this is going to be from the Love Your Inner Goddess deck, which is a really lovely deck for self-love and pretty fitting given the title. So Spirit, what does pile 3's inner Barbie girl want them to know moving forward? What is most important for them to know at this time? Okay, we have Gelato Goddess. So let's see what that says. Mamma mia. Have you given another the power to influence your sense of self-worth or direction in life? Choose with care whom you allow to get close to you and to guide you. It's obvious and yet easy to forget that if we accept guidance or influence from another, we want to make sure that they are living the kind of life and being the kind of person that we aspire to be. You can learn from being inspired by others, but you must stay true to yourself. Do not allow anyone else's voice to become more important than your own divine voice within your own heart. Your soul has 10,000 flavors. Take that, Ben & Jerry's. Some people may try to persuade you that one soul flavor is better than the others. Best to ignore those with such unadventurous palates. You are a divine gelateria, an array of sacred scrumptiousness. Sometimes you will be kind, other times you will be fierce. Sometimes you will be sweet, other times you will be strong and independent, stubborn and determined. Sometimes you will be all class, other times you'll wolf down your lunch like it's the last meal you'll ever eat. Those rare people who accept themselves unconditionally will be able to accept you, all parts of you, unconditionally too. Others who struggle to accept themselves may struggle to accept all of you. They may want you to behave in a certain way. They may feel embarrassed or afraid of what others may think, and so they try to censor you. Maybe they think they are helping you, but they are not. They aren't quite ready to be freely and truly themselves. Maybe one day they will be, but in the meantime, you won't help them or yourself by trying to change who you are. You are worth so much more, with so much more to offer those who are ready to embrace all of you. Carefully choose with whom you share yourself. You deserve to be and be loved for being all of you. Okay, we're going to do the sacred ritual together since it's short and we can do it right now. So say aloud after me with confidence. I trust, love, and respect all the different parts of me to work together. As I live my most creative, honest, and beautiful life, I choose to share myself with those that love and respect all of me. So be it. So here is the ritual if you'd like to do it yourself or save it. But pile 3. That is where I'm going to leave this reading. So stop being loud, Mr. Bull. That is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching and for being here. And thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for what I do. So thank you to everybody who does that. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates, and you can subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also check out my merch, my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off on my candles or any candles on the site. Yeah, you can check out other videos and stuff like that. But thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I really hope that this reading helped, and I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 4. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the 4th pile that says I fly to exotic places with my own wings, and the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, then this is going to be your reading, all on messages and life advice from your inner Barbie girl. So At this time, starting with the tarot, we have the Chariot. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. Very interesting. Excuse me, Mr. Rose Petal. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. We also have the Hierophant. We have new materials. That's interesting that those look so similar. And curious about you. I kind of want to put curious about you on top and new materials here. Okay, let's see. We also have the Crowning, Initiation, Thresholds, Birth, Rebirth, a seat at the table. We have Align Your Life, what is not aligned or needs to change. We have Hidden Depths, something hidden is about to come to light, perhaps a secret or memory at the back of your mind. When we expose what's hidden, we can become free. We have Taking a step back and being neutral can sometimes be the kindest thing I can do for myself in a difficult situation. And finally, we have Eudaimonia with Malachite and Uranus. So I'm actually going to read what the Eudaimonia card says, because I feel like it'll be a lot easier for me to do that than to sit here and pull at straws and try to remember what it said. So we have the stone Malachite. I've got some right here. Mr. Malachite, come right here. Okay, so that's Malachite, if you're wondering. It's very beautiful. Eudaimonia is a philosophy pertaining to each individual self and finally living in your knowing. You can access this knowledge and guide yourself down the path to your bliss by looking inward and healing your past traumas and wounding. You will then be able to allow positive energies to fill these once negative spaces. From a new positive mindset, you have now permitted yourself to experience life on a higher vibrational level where you can attract what truly sets your soul on fire. This is an essential time to activate and open your heart, throat, and third eye chakras, for which Malachite should be used. Malachite is known as the stone of transformation and is a highly protective stone. It creates a strong barrier around you and absorbs unwanted negative entities and energies. In doing so, Malachite can bring old emotions and past traumas to the surface to be dealt with, and thus promote deep healing and positive transformations. Malachite also aids in the development of your intuition and enhances your creativity. It could also be used in conjunction with the third eye chakra to encourage visions, and when used with the heart chakra, it can bring balance to your relationships. Uranus, which aligns perfectly with Malachite, represents liberation and transformation and pushes you toward a life of enlightenment and progression. Known as the Great Awakener, Uranus assists you to expanding boundary lines and elevating your mindset so you can teach this process collectively. Oh, okay, it does say teach. Activation guidance is reprogram your mindset. Actively make the decision daily when you're feeling low, irritated, or frustrated to reframe your state of mind. Expressing yourself in a higher vibrational frequency and allowing yourself to take a positive from a negative situation moves you one step closer to reprogramming your old negative thought patterns. Begin by identifying negative thoughts, then counteract them by thinking or writing down 3 positive or beneficial outcomes that came from this negativity. By doing this, you will begin to align yourself with the vibrational energies you wish to attract. And this little quote, I'm going to pull it up so I can actually read it. My heart and mind are open to elevate my vibrational approach to life and make space for eudaimonia. So, wow, okay, yeah. There's a little bit of a confusing energy here in the sense of these 2 knights and this Queen of Pentacles. There's a lot of motherly energy here. So a lot of what you're healing could have to do with your relationship with your mother or with a motherly figure in your life. These could represent people, or they could all represent aspects or expressions of yourself. I want to talk about a couple options of what these knights could be. So the Knight could be what you currently are, and the Queen could be what you're working towards. The Knight of Cups could also be another aspect of yourself, but one that's maybe out of balance. We did see with like those intense emotions. Or the Knight of Pentacles could be you. The Knight of Cups could be a romantic interest, or someone that you are either in a relationship with or connected to that is maybe emotionally immature or manipulative. They could be a bit of a charmer, but not really follow through on actions. They could be someone who is more negative or more emotionally draining. They could be someone who doesn't really follow through on anything or is more concerned about their emotions and their life, and aren't really able to give much else. They could be someone who only likes the beginning of things, where, you know, they like the chase of love, the thrill of love, but when it comes to settling roots and grounding things, they may have a hard time following through, or they may run in the opposite direction. If it's someone like that, or literally anyone who could be like coming towards you romantically that doesn't have mature intentions, or is emotionally immature, or is seeking emotional fulfillment no matter what effect it has on the other party. This Queen of Pentacles could represent a mother. And it could even, and this Knight of Cups could even be an extension of this Queen of Pentacles, like if that is like a mother figure, their energy towards you, or their issues around you growing and moving forward. But like I said, this Queen of Pentacles could also be what you're working towards, or an energy that you're actually already in, even though you may feel like you're the Knight of Pentacles. I know I just listed a lot of potentials. I hope that wasn't confusing, but if any of those resonate, take them as they are. I'm sure I will think of even more combinations of this could be. Court cards are challenging, but one big message that I need you to know, and that your inner Barbie girl needs you to know, is that even if it feels like you're stagnant, you are moving forward. And in fact, you're moving not only in the right direction, but you're getting exactly where you need to be. And you need to trust in that more. For some of you, I am getting this vibe like you could have a parent or parent figure. For a lot of you, I'm getting the vibe that it is like a mother that may be either angry that you are growing and moving forward. Like, for example, you could literally be moving to a different place. You could be moving away from your family, or you could just be moving forward from family being your biggest priority. And that could be something that your mother figure is very angry about or jealous about. So if you're dealing with like negativity around that, I'm really sorry. This could also be that you're moving forward in life and your romantic partner is either unsupportive or unwilling to grow with you. This could also be something where you're seeing someone, and either seeing this person is taking you away from your path, or you know that this person isn't going to be able to meet you at your level, or you feel in your heart that, but you may be looking at them through rose-colored glasses and this belief of like, oh no, they'll grow, they'll mature, it's fine. It could be a lot of different things. The fact that we have the Hierophant as the card that came out here, I was kind of taking that to represent your inner child, and the Hierophant is connected to Taurus energy. And I really do think that you have had very specific beliefs about what you wanted your life to be or how you saw your life going. And some of those could have been conditioned within you, like just the way you were raised or what your family thought or believed. But this could also be like religious or cultural expectations as well, that you've kind of taken in as like, okay, these are the things that I need to do. And I feel like you're actually being called to ask yourself, are those things that matter to you personally, that uphold, that would be fulfilling for you to achieve personally? Or are they expectations that you are holding on to because you want to please the people in your life, or you want to please that part of yourself that feels like that's important, even though it may come at like the detriment of actual enjoyment or living a life more aligned with you. This Hierophant, though, also, I feel like there is a deep knowing within you that you are meant to have like a very beautiful, like either love connection or partnership with someone that you're meant to build with. And it could be for some of you that you're recognizing, like if you are with someone, you could be recognizing that this person isn't on the same page. They're not willing to build with you. And that might be something really harsh that you're trying to come to terms with. Now, I'm not going to ever tell you what to do with your life or what decisions to make. I might give suggestions or give my take or give guidance. But if you ever decide to break up with someone, do not use me as the reason or the excuse. Like with peace and love, I've had like I've had one person come to my freaking Instagram of all places on my hot selfie and comment the most ridiculous take about how it is my fault that his girlfriend broke up with him, and used me as reference for that. That was annoying. So just know, if you are breaking up with your significant other, please don't make me as a scapegoat. I really don't want to be dragged into your heartbroken significant other's personal problems. Anyway, just a boundary. Just a request. But with that being said, I'm not telling you to break up with anyone. Like, if you're in your relationship and you're happy, then that message isn't for you. You know what I mean? This Knight of Cups could be about your unwillingness to allow yourself to have more emotional enjoyment and fulfillment. It could be the fact that you may feel like you are doing much worse than you actually are because you are succumbing to negative energies, either from the people around you, the media you consume, or inner issues that you have yet to address. The fact that we have hidden depths here, I feel like one thing your inner Barbie girl is letting you know is that there may be some truth, that not maybe, there will be truths coming to light. Maybe some of them you're already aware of, maybe some you're not, that will make it clear to you what is working and what isn't. I definitely feel like whatever you're working towards right now is going to continue to be successful. But if there is someone in your life that is unsupportive of whatever you're pursuing, I feel like that is a sign of someone who maybe you should set better boundaries with, just because they could be getting in the way of your ability to progress from the Knight of Pentacles to the Queen of Pentacles more quickly. Which obviously the Knight of Pentacles actually moves really slow. It's the slowest moving knight in the deck. And I feel like one thing that you do need to hear is that you may be feeling like you're not making enough progress, or you're not doing enough, or you're not getting far enough yet. And I feel like what the Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles are saying is that you are still moving forward. You are still moving forward. You are still doing well. There is no reason to delude yourself in this idea that things aren't working out just because you're not seeing how much growth is actually occurring. But also, you're headed towards a rebirth of some kind. Like, you're on the threshold of something different. And I feel like there's something you are leaving behind in order to make this shift, to cross this threshold. Now, what you're leaving behind doesn't have to be a thing or a person. It could be a way of looking at the world. It could be leaving behind wounds that you, or like hardships that you no longer want to carry. You know, the stories that you tell yourself that create more pain, things like that. I feel like the fact that we have aligned your life here, what is not aligned or needs to change, I feel like anything that is creating an emotional state within you that is distressing, that takes you away from yourself, that makes you feel discouraged, that makes you feel ungrounded, that makes you feel bad, those are things you want to look at as things that you may want to look at changing. And, you know, and there are many circumstances in life where we can't necessarily change the thing that is making us upset or affecting us, but we can change the way that we approach it. So like, for example, social media. Everybody knows that social media is toxic and negative. Like, everybody knows that. You're not going to change that. But you can change how often you're using it, who you're following, what you're consuming, and your boundaries with it. Another example. Let's say you have to sit next to one of the most irritating and toxic coworkers you've ever met in your entire life, who just loves to whine and complain or gossip or create issues with you, whatever it may be. Like, you can't change their behavior or change who they are, But you can change your response to them or your approach to the situation. For example, maybe you could ask HR if you could sit somewhere else or not be put near them. You could adopt the solution of gray rocking them, which if you've never heard of gray rocking, that's like being so boring that people won't engage with you. Like people that you don't want to engage with will just stop engaging with you because you won't give them anything. Like, you know, so for example, if you had someone that was trying to, you know, dig up some dirt on you or something, and they're like, oh, how was your weekend? And you're just like, fine. Oh yeah, what'd you get up to? Nothing. Are you sure? You didn't get up to anything? You didn't do anything? No, not really. Like, just short answers, nothing interesting. It'll make you less, I've heard it helps. I don't know. But those two examples are just to say that, like, there are things outside of your control that can and will contribute to a negative state of being. But instead of focusing on the fact that you can't change that, focus on what is within your control to change and go from there. I also think there is a need to surrender a little bit, to surrender the frustration around the fact that things just can't be simple and that things just can't be linear, because they're not. They're never that way. I also feel like, this is actually a really specific message. So for some of you, you may be on a path of accumulating a lot of wealth. And it's quite possible that someone that broke your heart or rejected you in the past may try to come back after you have reached this point of stability. It is up to you to be discerning, but I do feel like you're being cautioned about allowing people back into your life, especially if it's very clear that they have not grown or changed a bit and they're like the exact same person who they once were. It's very important to be discerning about like why people would be coming back into your life and like what is the reason for that. I also think that you're really being encouraged to not force yourself to make changes or decisions hastily. You know, if you need time to like really let your emotions settle before you make a decision, do that. If you need time to really observe and assess what is actually attributing to a more negative headspace or more negative emotions, like look at that. And let me be clear, negative doesn't mean bad. Negative just means not positive. And in your case, I think that negativity just isn't going to serve the path that you're on right now. And like you have your own inner battles and inner demons to deal with. That will deal you enough doses of negativity to go around. Accepting and like absorbing other people's negativity outside of you on top of that, that's going to make it really hard. And it's going to make it a lot more challenging to do what you need to do. I feel like you're going through a pretty intense rebirth right now, and you may be feeling like you're not moving forward and not making progress as a result, but that's not true. Like in this Knight of Pentacles, that night may be slow, but they get to where they are going no matter what. It is like tortoise energy, like slow and steady wins the race. And I really think in your case, you're being called to be more patient with yourself and kind of recognize that you're not giving yourself enough credit for how far you've come, but also with that Knight of Cups in reverse, like you deserve to have people that are not only on your level, but can add to your life and bring value to it, not take it away. Or like you're not meant to be in a relationship with someone to like be their caretaker or be their martyr or be their savior. You are meant to find peace and happiness in your own life, and because that's what you're responsible for. And you know, they're responsible for their own happiness, but you come together to add to one another's lives. And if you are with someone who just is not on the trolley, that is negative constantly, that doesn't support you, that doesn't want you to be your best self, that doesn't want you to be happy, if it means that they don't get what they want, like I definitely feel like that is something to look at as, is this the type of loving relationship that I envisioned for myself when I was a child? I feel like your inner child had a lot of confident beliefs, or not confident, but very staunch beliefs about who you wanted to be with or who you were meant to be with. And I feel like you may be wanting to fit people that don't fit into that mold anyway. Like you may have really intense, like they need to have this or they need to have that or they need to do XYZ. And maybe as you've grown and met people and just lived life, you've been like, oh, maybe those standards were too high, or maybe this or maybe that, I don't know. But what I do know is that you may be trying to find someone to fit that mold, or try to convince yourself that someone fits that mold when they either clearly don't, or they just they're not supporting or aligning with your life journey. They're just dragging you back and dragging you down, because the right types of connections for you are going to be mutually beneficial and mutually aligned with you, and you both are going to have a sense of, okay, we're going in a similar direction, like this is mutually beneficial. And I definitely think that it's not easy to grow and to change and to evolve, and it can be very painful to set boundaries with people. It can be very painful to make the decisions that are best for us, because sometimes other people won't be happy for them, or we'll disappoint people we love, or we'll have to make hard decisions that don't feel good, but we know we have to, because the pain of staying would be worse than the pain that would come from leaving or growing or moving forward. But the biggest thing that your inner Barbie girl is saying is that it's time to move forward. It is the year of pile fort, and you deserve to do everything and to pursue everything that is supporting and aligning your path, obviously as long as it's not causing harm to yourself or others, and that you don't need to waste any more time trying to get people to fit this mold when there are people on your path that will fit what you're looking for and more. But instead of looking at people through the lens of, oh, are you going to fit this mold, looking at people and thinking, let me see who you are, and let's see how that works with me. Like, you can only know others as much as you know yourself. And I feel like part of your job right now is getting to know yourself in terms of, what makes me feel less than? What makes me feel like I'm not doing enough? What makes me feel unworthy? What makes me feel powerless? What makes me feel like I can't change my situation? What makes me feel like I'm not good enough? And looking at those things and those parts of yourself within you, and then going deeper with it. Okay, these are the things that make me feel that way. Well, why do I give that feeling in general any leeway? Why do I put so much energy into it? Like, there's so many avenues in which you can explore. But I feel like part of what's out of alignment for you is the belief that you are out of alignment, the belief that you're not exactly where you're meant to be, and the belief that life is meant to be hunky-dory, or you're meant to be perpetually satisfied 24/7 all the time. That's literally impossible. Like, life is a constant state of fluctuations, and it's not as simple as we would like it to be, or as we would hope it would be. But if you know that there are changes you could be making that would not only support the person you are wanting to become, but would also bring you more peace, more joy, more happiness, like, you deserve it, and you owe it to yourself to give yourself more of that. And I know life is complicated, and I know things are complicated, and people are complex, relationships are complex, but ultimately, you will feel your best when you feel balanced in general, and when you are honoring the person that you are and affirming that person, instead of trying to contort and conform yourself to what others want you to be, or trying to please someone who wants to keep you small, or please someone who is uninterested in your own growth and happiness and only interested in you meeting theirs. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. And whenever that happens, I always see that as blessings. So just know that if anyone leaves your life, it's a blessing in disguise. And if there is a painful, like, I don't want to say painful, but if there is a shocking truth that comes to light, it's either because you weren't seeing it and this is what was the universe versus way of finally getting you to notice it. So if there's something that you feel like is a truth that you are ignoring, because you are afraid of acknowledging it, I would caution you to really pay attention to that, because you might avoid a situation where the universe has to do it on your behalf. I promise you, you always want to do it before the universe gets to you, because when the universe does it, they will be clear. And that clarity is not always fun. But anything that is being moved away, anything that is falling away, that is not working, it will be replaced in the future with something more aligned with you. But that space has to be made. That space has to be created. So just know that you're not doing anything wrong. You're not failing. Everything is going so well. And in fact, you are moving towards more abundance than I think you've ever thought possible. And abundance is not just about money. It's about an abundance. Like, abundance can be towards anything. It can be towards the feelings that we have, the gratitude that we have, the awareness of everything in our surroundings, the awareness of the love in our life, the things that bring us joy. Like, abundance is so much more than just money. But I feel like one thing that you need to know is like, the more unapologetically you are, the more you are just naturally going to attract all types of people. The more light you embody, the more moths are going to come check out that flame. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that one thing you're being encouraged to be aware of is the fact that not everyone may be interested in you for the right reasons. And it's very important to be discerning and not look at people as you want to see them, but as they are. You know, like when people say who they are, trust them. And to not allow those rose-colored glasses to stay on if there's awareness of like, oh, this doesn't seem very helpful, or this doesn't seem very like supportive for me in my life. You know, the universe is constantly conspiring in your favor. And I think you know that, and I think there's a part of you that trusts that. Honestly, there's just a part of you that is very, very afraid of letting go of the past because of your own fear of the unknown. And that's okay. That's so normal. But I promise you, everything in your past, the unknown is better than living in the past. I promise you. Because the unknown has so many gifts and blessings and experiences for you, and you're moving there. You're moving in that direction. It may not feel like it, but you are. And a lot of the big shifts that are happening right now require you to shed and release and let go and surrender, because that is what is going to make you open for what is meant to come, for what is trying to come into your life, for what is actually mutually supportive. And I think more than anything, you're really just being called to recognize that it can be super painful making the decisions that are best for you when you know they're going to disappoint or upset someone that you love. But it's going to be a lot more painful to continue to stay in something that is not serving you, like, for example, a job or a living situation or a relationship. But like I said, I'm a pair of talking hands on the internet. You are in charge of your own decisions. And also, you know what's best for you. This could have nothing to do with romantic connections whatsoever. You could be in a relationship and be super happy with them. That is wonderful. I'm not referencing your relationship in that case. I'm referencing that for other people. But if you're in a relationship with someone and you're miserable and both have been working on it and things aren't growing and things aren't changing, you know, you might want to have a talk about that. You might want to see, okay, we're not getting anywhere. So what are we going to do? I feel like, or maybe you're just afraid to communicate in general that you have needs not being met or there's issues. You can be honest and be kind. And it's much more important that that stuff comes out in the open and that you can work on it Because one, if the other person is unwilling to work on it or invalidates your needs, that is something that you need to know of and be aware of. But it's quite possible, like, you know, if you've never talked about it, maybe your person has no idea you're struggling or that they're not meeting a need. And it would be really helpful for them to know. More than anything, like, I feel like this is a lot about trusting in the process, trusting yourself, following what is truly aligned with you, and trusting that when you feel the urge to let something go, to surrender something, to make a change, if you weren't meant to make that change, you wouldn't have felt it in the first place. So it's better to trust it and flow with what happens rather than stay in a situation that is stagnant, or stay in a state that is stagnant, that is only keeping you down and causing you to suffer or causing you to feel frustrated as a result. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead now and get some channeled messages from your inner Barbie girl. But while I am shuffling, I do just quickly want to shout out everyone that takes the time to leave me a like or comment or subscribe or let the ads play in the background, because like those are very easy, simple ways to support me. And I just appreciate so much everyone who does that. And I just want you to know, like, I'm just so grateful for that. And like, you never have to like give me money, but these are ways that you can support me that do not require any financial contribution on your part. That can help me greatly. So thank you to everyone who even takes the time to leave a comment and be like, oh, I can't really afford like an extended or things like that, but like, you know, so, like, I just appreciate that so much. Like, I don't expect anyone to do anything. I'm just so grateful you're here and so grateful that you're letting me read for you and that you trust me and that you're willing to support me in any way. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Never feel like you're not doing enough just because you may not be giving me money. Like, that's okay. I do these readings for a reason. Literally just letting an ad play while you do something else, like, that literally gives me money, and it requires nothing on your part other than taking your attention somewhere for a couple seconds. I don't know why I kind of went on that whole little diatribe, but just know like how grateful I am, and that don't ever feel like a like or a comment isn't enough, because it is. Thank you. You don't owe me anything. I'm just grateful for anything you're willing to give in return. I don't give with an expectation to receive. I give because I love doing this and I love you guys and I want the best for you. Same gist. Anyway, pile 4, Spirit. Pile 4 is inner Barbie girl. What guidance do you have for pile 4? Woof, okay. We have, you are absorbing energies that are not solely yours. Your body, mind, and spirit is in need of a detox, cleansing of dense energies. As an empath, you are highly sensitive, or clearly in general, you're highly sensitive. So I think it is very important to, especially if the people around you, like you genuinely love, like you may just be absorbing their negative energies, and it may just be a conscious awareness on your part, or taking time and space on your part to be able to like decompress for that. That could like help the relationships in your life greatly, for example. We also have, there may be a battle between your ego and your higher self in regards to a certain choice or decision you must make. Your higher self will always point you in the direction that is best for you. Take some time and think through a present choice. So yeah, if there is any hard decisions that you have to make or anything like that, like I think that could be something very, very useful. What else do we have? We have, move your body through physical exercise. Your energy can become stagnant and energetically slow when you are inactive. Walk, run, dance, or bike, or engage in any other form of movement. So yeah, it could be that you feel like life is stagnant because you literally have just been like just chilling and vibing. So maybe it could be good. Like, that's a great way to get out of your head. But on the back of the deck, we have, your heart is wanting something. Your heart is wanting to step into a state of forgiveness for yourself or of others. You may be holding on to pain, bitterness, or a trauma in a way that is stagnating your heart's flow. Forgive and let go of the past. And I think it's important to remember that forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. And one of the most important things, one of the best things that you can do is forgive yourself for what you did in order to cope with the struggles in your life and what you did when you knew less. You know? But to finish this reading off, I am going to pull a guidance card from this Love Your Inner Goddess deck. You're going to pretend that these cards are pink and not red. But let's see, Spirit, what guidance do you have for pile 4? Pile 4 is in our Barbie girl. What guidance do you have for pile 4 moving forward, please? We have Spirit Warrior. Oh, I love this. You are earning the right to make significant progress in your life. The universe will make certain you are ready for the breakthrough by testing your spiritual maturity. The universe wants to make sure that we are wise enough to use our increased power and any other blessings wisely and not hurt ourselves or others. Even if no one else knows about it, will you behave with integrity and be true to yourself? Will you be kind even when you could be in the position to judge another? Be the best human you can be and know that any tests you are going through are actually predictions of positive changes and divine gifts headed your way. Integrity means being true to yourself. It doesn't matter what anyone else says about it or if their values are different to yours. When you're becoming a spirit warrior, you're learning to stand up and fight with love for what matters to you. Sometimes it can seem like spirit warriors need to live to a higher standard than others. When you need to be a better person in a situation, it's been set up that way by the universe because you can actually be that person. Not everyone is capable of that. The heavier load falls upon the stronger shoulders, but the more spiritual responsibility we have, the more we are helped to succeed. The path of the spirit warrior may not seem to be the easiest sometimes, but actually it is easier in the long term because not liking or respecting yourself eventually leads to a tragic loss of soul. Our soul brings us creative fire, passionate purpose, and love so strong we want to heal the world, as well as spiritual connection and so much more. It is worth the effort to safeguard it by living in a way that is honorable and respectful. If that means living to a standard that is spiritual rather than ordinary, that is okay. It's a more beautiful and special way to live anyway. So fight the good fight, spirit warrior. Great things are headed your way, and you are showing yourself worthy and ready for greater success. So there is a little sacred ritual here. If you would like to do that, feel free to screenshot it, but you need to be in a mirror or near something reflective. But with that being said, pile 4, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me read for you and for watching the ads, or letting the ads play in the background while you do something else. I'm not a monster. Don't expect you to watch them. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates, and subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to my notification squad. If you want me to see your comment, I usually first see comments when I first upload, so be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. And if you want me to see your comment, I will usually see it then. Let's see, I also have merch, my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. You can check out my other videos or just like send me love. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for being here and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you are watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye.